Hello, I'm Ned Hall, and today, looking back into the Grandstand digital archives, we'll go back to 1989 and an incredible Ashes series. Australia, having lost the previous two series on the back of the World Series cricket and the effect that it had on the national team, arrived in England lauded as one of the worst touring sides ever to go to the country. It didn't quite work out that way, and over the course of a 6-test series, which began at Headingley in the June of 1989. Greg Campbell made his debut for Australia in that test match. Terry Alderman ended up as man of the match. Here are highlights of the first test of the 1989 series.
Marsh on the pad that may have just nipped back into the pads of the right-hander. So Marsh trudges back to the pavilion, and Australia lose their first wicket with 44 runs on the board.
In comes Foster and Bowles, and that's it. The away swinger is caught behind. He followed it. It was a good old-fashioned away swinger, well pitched up around the off stump. Might possibly not have had to have played a stroke at it. I think it might have been just outside the line of the off stump. But Boone got the outside edge. Russell took the catch, and Australia are 57 for 2.
Pringle bowls to Taylor, and Taylor will get his 50 here. He turns it down towards fine leg and walks through to take the single, and now acknowledges the crowd. And very warm applause here too from this crowd at Leeds for Mark Taylor's first Test 50.
This is Foster's 18th over coming up, 1 for 22. Turning round, running in down the hill in this lovely evening here at Headingley now. And up he comes and bowls. And that's outside the off stump. And off an inside edge 4, going for the off drive, got an inside edge. And he came between the stumps and the wicketkeeper down to fine leg for 4. So Border reaches, we won't call that a champagne moment, although it's got his 50. And a lucky one.
The Freitas trotting into the wicket again, bowls to Border, and Border pulls this. He could be out here with Smith. Is it? No, it's not Smith getting under it, but the catch has been affected, and it's Foster who takes the catch, and Border leaves the scene. So Foster takes the catch, which dismisses Border, who leaves us for 66, and that really is a vital breakthrough for England. It came just at the required time. So the Australians were starting to build an immensely sound position. Australia suddenly 3 for 174, Border out. Caught Foster, bowled to Freitas for 66. Australia 3 for 174.
So here comes de Freitas from the Kirk's lane and bowls the left-handed Taylor. Hits it in the air, just over Gar's head at extra cover for 4 runs. Gar leapt up and very nearly brought off an athletic catch. I shouldn't think it cleared his hand by more than the foot. And a rather un-Taylor-like shot, that. Having a chance to see the replay now, we can see how much he sliced it over Gar's head by. Well, about a foot, wasn't it? Not much more than that.
Cover slash.
A cover slash, taking him to 79, the total to 178 for 3. Playing across from off to leg as Newport bowls, and that's hit in the air for 4 runs by Jones, off the mark. Perfectly safe, well wide abroad there. Newport rather resignedly takes his sweater from umpire Shepherd, not very happy with himself. And a nice meaty stroke by Jones to get off the mark. He probably would have preferred to have hit it along the ground, but 4 runs nonetheless. 182 for 3 at the end of the over.
Away goes Foster off the short run again. Bowles is one short outside the old stump. And that one goes through to slips and dropped. And it was wicket. Perhaps he didn't deserve it, but it was dropped by Pringle there. So it's Newport to come in down the hill. Bowling to Taylor. Taylor's on 92. Up he comes. That one outside, he chopped it. Just went for chop that one, and Russell went for it in front of first slip. And he looks a very nervous man, Taylor. 202 for 3. He's 92. Jones 9. And 1 over has to be bowled, but it'll go on, of course, till 6 o'clock. So he's waiting there. He's had his helmet all day. Left-hander. Lovely off-drives we've seen from him. Waits. As this one from Newport is outside the off stump, and another nice stroke, but played a little bit later, so he goes down to third man all along the ground, and Foster Fields throws back. And that's 1 more to Taylor, and he's walking off. They're tucking the bat. So they decided they're not going to have another over, so Taylor is not out 96, Jones is not out 10, and Australia put into bat 207 for 3.
Anyway, here's Pringle coming in for his second over of the morning. Bowls to Taylor, 97 not out. Taylor glances, this could be the runs. He's going down towards the fine leg boundary. It's 4 runs, and Mark Taylor has scored 100 in his first test match against England.
Up comes Foster to bowl to Taylor. And that one he strokes and it comes straight down the ground. A nice off drive, trickling down here. It's coming just to the boundary, being chased by Broad, who didn't stop it. A nice, not very powerful off drive to take Taylor up to 136 as Foster comes up, bowls to him again. Oh, that was a terrible throw from the side. It is indeed. Trying to hit it somewhere over mid-wicket. And he's out. And he's LBW to Foster. As Pringle comes in now. Bowls, Moore goes off the back foot there. That's 4 runs of beauty. He hit it like a thrash there.
It's a beautiful stroke.
It was, wasn't it?
Oh, perfection.
But Pringle don't bowl short to him then outside the off stump. He comes up to him again. He does it again, and that's another one. That one was more of a cut. It was a beautiful stroke. But it was short outside the off stump, and he 11 off the over, and that was a magnificent. That was a cut, and it was good to see. He goes to 53.
Dean Jones is the man on the firing line. And Newport bowls to him again. And this time he's beaten. There's an appeal for catch behind and he's given out.
War is 99. Newport runs in and bowls to him. And he cuts this one, and that's it. He's got it. He's gone down to the sweeper position, that deep cover. He gets 1 run. He waves his bat up to his colleagues. They all come out on the balcony, applaud. The whole crowd here at Headingley applauds what is a magnificent 100. And here we have Newport coming in to bowl this one. And that is hit straight back to him, and it's caught and bowled. Caught and bowled. Healy is caught and bowled. And so Newport has got another wicket. This is De Freitas' 41st over. 2 for 113. Away he runs. Past David Shepherd, comes in, bowls to Moore. And Moore plays it off the back foot. That's his 150. Plays it deep down to Alan Lamb, running in from deep cover.
Here comes De Freitas. Bowls to Hughes, who swats it away over mid-wicket. Is this the 100 partnership bound? It almost gets to it. And it is the 100 partnership. Here goes De Freitas, trying hard still. He comes running in up the hill, and it's hooked authentically this time by Hughes, who gets his 50. Well played, Merv Hughes.
Foster bowls to him. And that's going high in the air off an attempted bounce. A bouncer, not a hook, not a shot of any kind. And Hughes is out, caught by Russell, running about 5-6 yards to his left behind the stumps. We put the mouth on him. 71. Hughes goes, and Australia are 588 for 7.
De Freitas to Lawson, and Lawson plays this away through square leg for 4. Neat as you like. Just deflected the pace of De Freitas, and that's the 600 on the board for Australia. 7 for 601, with a neat looking shot from Jeff Lawson that takes him up to 10. War 177, and 601 runs on the board for the loss of 7 wickets.
And that's the declaration. Gooch faces Alderman again. And that's a good one. There's an appeal for LBW, and he's out. That really moved off the seam. The exultant Australians converge upon Alderman and embrace him roundly. The last to get there is Lawson. The next to last is Hughes, and I would imagine an embrace from Merv Hughes is rather a frightening experience. However, England have lost their first wicket. Gooch, LBW bowled Alderman, 35.
Hughes again with his close-cropped hair and big moustache bowls a slower ball and bowls him. What a good bit of bowling. Completely deceived Chris Broad and just hit the base of the off stump.
Here he is, facing Lawson. Swings this effortlessly away to leg for 4 runs. Short pitch from Lawson, and Lamb simply waited for it. Beautiful timing. He moves up to 13. The total is 101 for 2.
Lawson bowls again, and this time Kim Bennett goes after it. He slices it actually over cover point, but it's going down to the boundary for 4, and that's his 50.
Over again, wide the crease, outside the off stump, and hit away through the covers. A very fine stroke there. It's going through, and it is Lamb's 50.
And Alderman coming in down the hill. Bowls to Barnett, wraps him on the pad. There's an appeal, and he's out.
There's Lawson into Gar, down the leg side, and appeal for a catch, and Gar walks. He hardly waits for John Hilder to put his finger up.
As Lawson bowls to Lamb, and Lamb launches it himself at this and hits it for 4, up to the Headingley Pavilion, and raises both hands in his air. A lovely way to get to 100. A very fine innings, and one in which he played, I can't think of a single rash shot. He's played a really high-class 100. He's first for England against Australia. Alderman comes in and bowls and hits the pad of Lamb, and he's out. Caught at short leg by Boone. He got a little inside edge onto the pad, and Boone came across, and Lamb immediately gave himself out.
And there's an appeal for LBW against Pringle, and it's out. Trevor Bailey gave him out before the umpire holder. Glenn Campbell's first, Campbell's first test wicket is Pringle LBW for 6. This is delivery from Alderman up the hill from the football end. There's an appeal, and Smith is out, no doubt about that. Beaten off the pitch by Alderman.
Lawson bowls again, and Newport. Oh, that's top edge now. This should be out. Boone gets under it, and that's out.
It's Alderman coming up to Freitas, and that one hits him on the pad. There must be out, LBW. Plumb in front. And it's Russell with 3 slips in the gully waiting as Lawson comes up and bowls to him. And he says his run. He's caught in the gully. He caught very well indeed by Marsh, who caught it there, rolling over in the gully. That was a very good one indeed. And he was out for 15 runs. Caught by Marsh, off Lawson to give Lawson his 3rd wicket. Thank you very much. And the total is 430.
Foster bowls outside the off stump. There's an appeal, and Marsh, poor shot, is out, caught by Russell, and that wasn't a very good shot indeed. He chased it wide of the off stump. Australia have lost their first wicket, 14 for 1. Caught by Russell, bowled Foster. Newport bowls wide outside the off stump and cracked through the covers by Taylor. Bless his shot. 50 in the grand manner. Australia go to 79 for 1.
Mingle comes in again and bowls to Taylor, and that's a short rearing delivery that he hooks down towards fine leg, and he's out caught. Broad comes in and takes the catch, and Taylor is out caught Broad, bowled Pringle for 60.
De Freitas from wide of the crease bowls the right-hander, and he's LBW this time. Boone LBW going across the line of his stumps. It was bowled from a very wide angle, that, so umpire holder must have just thought about it, but he did, and then lifted the finger, so Boone is out. LBW to De Freitas.
Foster bowls to Jones, and that's wide. That'll be 4 wides. That is a disgraceful delivery.
4 wides.
Jack Russell tried to move about, I reckon, 3 metres outside the leg stump to stop that. And I'll give the bowler the benefit of the doubt. He is a test bowler, and there's no doubting his quality. And obviously that slipped out of his hands. I think Jones might have caused that. He did that little back shuffle outside the leg stump. He looked to be creating a little bit of room to try and drive the ball out through the covers. And I think Foster saw that movement and thought, well, I'll bowl down the line of the body. And I think it slipped out of the hand and goes for 4 byes. So it's 3 for 193 now. And the board showing Border on 50. And that's not right, as Border clouts this away, and that's his 50. A lovely drive out through backward point, so Border gets to his 50 now. We'd make that 53, and the score goes up to 219 for the loss of 3 wickets.
Pringle bowls this one outside the leg stump, and he gets a leg glide for 4 runs. It really is absolutely pathetic.
Declaration.
He has declared. Now, the scoreboard says 230. And 230.
That's correct. Border 60 and Jones 40.
And Border 60, Jones 40. So 230, and their lead in the first innings was 171. So 402 is needed. There are remaining overs is very important. We got 20 in the last hour, and how many have we? They take
consumed 10 and 2 between the innings, so 12 come off the 95.
63 is that? 83 overs altogether, would you agree?
That's right.
83 into it's about 5. I'm just under 5 runs.
4.84 is the run rate required to win.
In comes Alderman, bowls on the leg stump, and appeal for LBW. He's out. Broad is out. LBW. He was pushing towards the onside. It was on a good length. And obviously, umpire holder reckoned that would have taken perhaps the leg stump, even middle and leg. Kept a little bit low, and Chris Broad is out, and Australia have taken 1 of the 10 wickets they need to win this match. England 17 for 1.
Hughes bowls to Barnett again, and that's a short rearing delivery which he doesn't handle all that well. It goes off the top slice of the bat, flies over border at third slip. The result will be etched into the book as a 4 for a most unconvincing shot. He really looked at 6s and 7s with the short pitch stuff then. The total goes up to 1 for 61.
Up comes Alban now, bowls this to Barnett, and it's short, and he's caught a slip. Caught a slip there by Taylor, who throws the ball up, and Barnett is out of a short ball outside the off stump, and he edged it, and he is out. Ducked his bat under his arm, he's out. Caught Taylor, bowled Alderman for 34. England are 67 for 2.
Alderman from the football stand end bowls the left-handed guy, hits him beautifully for 4 off the back foot. That was a gift which even in these circumstances the England captain was not going to refuse. A long hop just outside the off stump, and he played it beautifully through extra cover. Absolute meat and drink to Gar, that.
Now Lawson goes in and bowls to Gower again, and that's on line with the stumps, and he flicks it that down the leg side, and he's out. A great catch by Healy. It was just a lazy turn with the ball, and they fancy Gower down that side. I think he was out exactly the same manner in the first innings, and that time the ball pitching outside the line of the leg stump. He went with the stroke. Healy snapped up an excellent catch. It was going at him like a rocket. But so Gower is out, caught by Healy off the bowling of Lawson for 34, and England 4 for 134. Now Lawson bowls to Smith again, and Smith edges, and he's caught, is he? Yes. Caught by Border at third slip. He followed one that was moving away outside the off stump, and it takes a fairly thick outside edge. It was a pretty difficult catch for Alan Border, low down and to his right, but he snapped it up. So Smith is out without scoring, and England are 5 for 134. Smith caught Border, bowled Lawson, naught. England 5 for 134.
Up comes Lawson now, and bowls to Gooch, well pitched up. He does this one again. That's a beautiful stroke. 4 runs all the time. Goes down over the rope now, behind where long off should be. Over pitched outside the off stump. Well done, Gooch. He's 9 for 63.
Alderman bowls to Pringle outside the off stump, hits him on the pad, appeals for LBW, and it is not out. It seemed to me with the eye there that he'd got outside the line of the off stump. Alderman looks very disappointed, fairly theatrically so, and all the hands of the Australians were up in appeal there. It was 153 for 5. Hughes bowls to Gooch. Gooch goes back, another appeal for LBW. He's out after an agonising delay. Umpire Shepherd gives Gooch leg before. Gooch can barely drag himself away from the stumps. It looked as though the umpire was going to say not out there. There must have been 5 seconds, which would have seemed like an eternity for Gooch. But in the end, the finger went up. Gooch
was well back.
He was on the right on the back foot. He's out for 68, and England have lost their 6th wicket at 153. There are still 41 overs remaining after this. Hughes has struck. He's taken his first wicket. As I say, he was unlucky not to get Barnett out. And the crestfallen Gooch drags himself slowly to the pavilion. And Australia now have undoubtedly a favourite's chance of winning this match. Alderman from the football stand end and bowls to Pringle. Is caught. Bad shot. Caught by Border at second slip. Alderman has taken his 4th wicket. England have lost their 7th at 153. There are still 40 overs left after this one. And if England survive now, it will be a miraculous tail-end recovery.
Heat increases. Scott has its second spasm of the day as he was bowls, and Russell goes, caught behind, caught well down, well caught low down by Healy. Russell departs for 2, caught Healy, bowled Hughes, and at last he got one on the target. Russell felt he was obliged to play a shot, and he departs. England 166 for 8.
Alderman goes in and bowls to Newport, and Newport edges, and he's caught. He chased that ball outside the off stump. The catch is taken by Geoffrey Marsh, and Australia are now just 1 wicket away from victory here. England 9 for 170, and the last batsman out was Newport. Caught Marsh off the bowling of Alderman for 8, and it's 9 for 170. And Clem Alderman has now taken 5 wickets in both innings, and that might well set him on the track to the Man of the Match award in this memorable Australian, well, it should be a memorable Australian victory. Now they've still got a wicket to pick up, but Clem Alderman leads the way, 5 in each innings. He really has bowled superbly. 7 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 17 though. It's been a good spell of aggressive bowling from Merv Hughes. He turns again, the big man from Victoria. He comes into the wicket, bowls to De Freitas, and De Freitas clips him away through square leg for 4. Well, he got into the absolutely perfect position to play that shot and cracked it away. So De Freitas goes to 9, and the total goes up to 176 for the loss of 9 wickets. Foster is yet to get off the mark.
Still 29 overs remaining, including this one. And here comes Hughes rolling in and bowling to De Freitas, bowls him, and Neville Oliver's has done the trick, because Hughes has taken the last wicket and Australia have beaten England comprehensively and comfortably in the end, with the clock showing just after 4:45 on this 5th day. They've won by the massive margin of 447 runs. England all out, 191. De Freitas bowled by Hughes, and joy unconfined for Australia. One or two spectators coming onto the field, a couple of Australian flags in evidence, and you said 447, Bill. 210, sorry. 447 was the time, I beg your pardon. 210 runs is the winning margin. Well played, Australia. An absolutely outstanding victory by them, and from the word go, they have had the initiative in this match. England briefly counter-attacked on the Saturday, but it was not for long enough. And Alan Border shakes the hands of the two umpires, and he has played a large personal part in this victory. I think the way that he batted in both innings, the way he's attacked in the field, and controversy will go on for a long time about David Gower's decision to let Australia bat first. 601 for 7 declared was a pretty powerful riposte to that. And Australia won by 210 runs. Alderman taking 5 for 44 and 10 wickets in the match. And Hughes finishing with 3 for 36. And Fred, I'm sure you would be the first to congratulate Australia.
Absolutely. From the word go, and they had bad luck in losing the toss, and then they had good luck in being asked to bat first. In fact, I shall always remember Alan Border's face, because when he lost the toss, he looked up to the heavens to say, what have I done wrong to lose the toss again? I've lost it in the 3 one-day internationals. Now I've lost it in the first test match. And then the smile of delight that crossed his face when he was asked if he'd bat first. And we're not talking after the event. We said it was a very surprise decision when it happened. I know Alan Border said that if he'd have won the toss, he would have batted anyway, and I feel sure that England should have done the same. They were a little bit slow on the first day, Australia, while Taylor built a magnificent innings. He built the platform with his maiden test century for Australia to launch from it. And then, of course, we saw the magnificent innings from Steve Waugh. They gained a psychological advantage when they went to 601 for the loss of 7 wickets. England were always then in the back of their minds, knowing that they had to score 402 to save the follow-on in the first innings, which is always a big score in Test cricket. They managed to do that all right. Then they bowled very badly in the second innings. Australia took the initiative sometime on Friday. They've never lost it. Alan Border has led from the front. He showed his intentions last night when he was chasing the runs. He even wanted to bat on in the dark and the drizzling rain when the umpires took him off with 4 overs to go. Came out this morning to an ultra-defensive field, as Chris puts it, and which was quite right. And it was a case of England saying, we'll get the runs you need, get the declaration over, and we'll play through. Well, everything went wrong. The psychological advantage was Australia's. They've rammed home that advantage. They've taken a 1-0 lead in the first test. And I have to say that Australia's performance in this test match, they deserve that victory.
A wonderful start to the tour for them. Their final bowling figures: Terry Alderman, 20 overs, 7 maidens, 5 for 44. The presentation ceremony will take place soon, and he will certainly be one of the candidates for the Man of the Match award. He or Steve Waugh, I suppose, are the favourites. Lawson, 11 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 58. 2 vital wickets he took, David Geyer and Robin Smith, in successive overs there. They were the real nails, I think, in the England coffin. Campbell, 10 overs for 42 runs. Will certainly never forget his first Test match, and I'm sure he'll bowl better in future ones. Hughes, 9 overs and 2 balls, 2 maidens, 3 for 36. And Border, 5 overs, 3 maidens, no wicket for 4. Bill just putting the last touches to the scoreboard. We're listening out. Brian Johnson is standing by along with the crowd to give the presentation. And I think we should probably be able to hear the public address in due course. We can't at the moment, but the crowd are gathering in front of the pavilion and waiting to salute an Australian victory. And England's dismal record on this ground continues. This is the first Australian victory here since 1964, when Bobby Simpson was the skipper and Ted Dexter was the England skipper. So, here the presentation.
Well, the presentation has started, and Alan Border is receiving a cheque now from Brian Schofield, the UK divisional manager of Cornhill Insurance, a cheque for £6,750.
Cornhill medallions for the 2 umpires who've done, as always, a superb job throughout the entire Test.
John Holder and David Shepherd.
And Mr. David Shepherd. John Holder.
The umpires stood out there in the heat.
And David
done
Shepherd.
a very good job. Ray Illingworth will give the Cornhill player of the match.
Ladies and gentlemen, a little quiet, please, for a gentleman who's had years of frustrations with the conditions here, but I think everyone, particularly the Australians, will agree he's come up with an absolute beauty this time. A medallion for the groundsman, Mr. Keith Boyce.
Hooray. Marvellous to applaud Keith Boyce after all these years of criticism. He's produced his wicket with all these runs, and congratulations to him. England certainly can't blame the wicket.
The Cornhill player of the match receives a cheque for £500, a magnum of champagne and an accompanying medallion. To make his judgment, we please welcome that great player for England, Yorkshire and Leicestershire, and of course one of the great captains of England and now member of their TV commentary team, Mr. Raymond Illingworth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's been some marvellous cricket played over the last 5 days, and some tremendous batting. I think going through them, there was, for Australia, Mark Taylor's 136, his first Test match century. Dean Jones, 79 and 40 not out. And one of the best innings that I've seen for a long time, Steve Waugh, 177. Hughes was very entertaining for a nice 71. Loves to make some bowling from Bird as well. 2 England players to play well were Alan Lamb for 125 and Kim Barney for his 80. But in what's been a bastard paradise, the one outstanding thing I thought in the match, and I'm making my Cornhill player of the match for 5 for 107 and 5 for 44, Terry Alderman.
Terry Alderman comes on and shakes hands with Ray Illingworth, who hands him a very nice looking magnum of champagne, or is the Jeroboam, it's a big one anyhow, and congratulations there also from the Ray Schofield, the divisional manager. 10 for 151 in the match. Terry Alderman, TM Alderman, well done. And Australia won by 210 runs with 27 overs and 4 balls to spare. And in addition to these presentations, may we just say that as a result of deliberations in the commentary box here, Test Match Special, our champagne moment of the match, which is in honour of the centenary for the Savoy Hotel, and they're giving a Jeroboam to the man concerned in that moment, and we all thought that perhaps there were lots of people, like the stroke which Steve Waugh played off his back foot, which went racing to the boundary, the one which Alan Lamb got his 100 with. There were lots of good things, but we thought the outstanding one was at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, when the macho mustachioed fast bowler Merv Hughes of Australia ran up to bowl to Chris Broad. He's a fast bowler, remember, and bowled rather a high-tossed leg break, and it looked like a rabbit being mesmerised by a ferret. Broad was amazed, I think everybody else was, but he clean bowled him, and that to us was the champagne moment of the first test match here at Headingley, and Merv Hughes will receive a Jeroboam. It'll be sent round to his hotel, and the only promise which we've asked anybody receiving it is not to squirt it, but to drink it. I'm sure that the Australians will find that those 4 bottles in there will be very tasty. Very excellent champagne. So that's the position, and sitting alongside me, Don Mosey, to give his view not only of today's play, but to look back on the match.
England, under new management, have not started trading in a very businesslike way. Australia, more or less the old firm, have dominated this test from the very moment of that chronically incomprehensible decision by England to put them in on a wicket which has consistently favoured the bat all the way through. But first, the scoreboard details. Australia batting on in the morning with Border and Jones, the not-out batsmen, on 31 and 12 respectively, took their score to 230 before declaring with 3 wickets down. Border was not out 60, Jones not out 40, and the England bowling: Foster 19 overs 4 maidens, 1 for 65. De Freitas 18 overs 2 maidens, 1 for 76. Pringle 12 overs and 5 balls, 1 maiden, 1 wicket for 60. Newport 5 overs 2 maidens, no wicket for 22. That left England, the declaration left England requiring 402 runs to win at 4.8 and over. They had 83 overs left of the day, and it seemed not unreasonable to expect a pretty experienced England batting lineup to hold out on a wicket which was still showing no signs of misbehaving. Alas, it was not to be so, and the scorecard reads in the England second innings: Broad, LBW bowled Alderman 7. Barnett caught Taylor, bowled Alderman 34. Lamb caught Boone, bowled Alderman 4. Gooch, LBW bowled Hughes 68. Smith caught Border, bowled Lawson, no score. Gower caught Healy, bowled Lawson 34. Pringle caught Border, bowled Alderman, no score. Newport caught Marsh, bowled Alderman 8. Russell caught Healy, bowled Hughes 2. De Freitas bowled Hughes 21. Foster not out 1. England all out in their second innings, 191 at 4:47 p.m. on this, the 5th day of the first test. Alderman's bowling figures: 20 overs, 7 maidens, 5 for 44. Lawson, 11 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 58. Campbell, 10 overs, no maidens, no wicket for 42. Hughes, 9 overs and 2 balls, 2 maidens, 3 for 36. And Border, 5 overs, 3 maidens, no wicket for 4. Placed back on the boundary before the Australian overnight batsman had even reached the middle. 3 on the square, in the area which the discs enclose when one is playing limited overs cricket. So Border and Jones were able to pick up 1s and 2s at their leisure. England's attitude, all too plainly and all too sadly, was: we have given up the ghost here. Tell us what you want us to do when you are ready to make the decision. It was a pretty poor show by an England side, and as I say, our 2 ex-internationals in this box were not the only ones who were utterly scandalised by England's spineless approach. Now, going back to Friday afternoon, when England were trying vainly to staunch the flow of runs from Steve Waugh and Dean Jones, I found myself musing idly out on the balcony here. What would have been the situation if we'd had someone like Johnny Wardle bowling at one end? We had England going into the test with 4.5 seamers. Therefore, the captain was left with very few options, no variety to his bowling. As Trevor Bailey said, he could change the bowlers, but he could not change the bowling.
How would you like to be stout? Stumpy Boom wasn't born that way, so talk to him. Just ask Roy to tee it up.
surprises.
Oh, thanks, guys.
And bad surprises.
Make me the happiest man alive.
No.
Oh.
Like that. Look, go for the good surprises, friend. Good surprises only. Here's one, ABC iView. It's filled with jaw-dropping comedy, eye-popping drama, and heaps of mind-blowing television. Download the app now on your phone, tablet or smart TV. ABC iView. Don't be surprised if you're surprised.
ABC Sport Digital Radio. ABC Sport, your home of basketball.
Coming up now on ABC Grandstand Digital, highlights of the second test of the 1989 series. Australia having won a resounding victory in the opening test at Headingley by 210 runs to take an opening lead in the series, having gone into the series perhaps as one of the worst touring sides ever to arrive in England. David Gower was also under pressure, having put Australia into bat and saw them pile on over 600 runs. And also Derek Pringle was under pressure to keep his spot in the side. Greg Campbell lost his spot in the Australian side. Trevor Hones, better known to many cricket fans these days as a selector of the Australian side, came into the batting lineup. Starring performance in the match from Steve Waugh. This is the second test of the 1989 series between England and Australia. Also, listen out for some incredible interviews in the middle of this section as well, particularly one with David Gower, who was under pressure for leaving a press conference before it was completed. His reasoning for doing so is quite incredible. So this is the second test at Lord's in 1989. Enjoy.
And here is Alderman once more. Past the tall, balding figure of umpire Blues. He bows. Gooch comes forward, he's on the pad. There's an appeal by Alderman, who jumps up. There may have been a bit of bat in that. Boone took off to his left like a ballet dancer, but couldn't get anywhere near it. Alderman it is. We've got free slips of gully, still a very attacking field, as you would expect on this, the first morning of the match, and also a backward short leg. Alderman it is. In now to Broad. Broad comes forward, in on the path, there's an appeal, and he's given out. He's LBW. Broad came forward, and Broad is looking back, I think not so much at the umpire Blues, but at the pitch. The umpire took a long time before giving that, and so Broad is out. LBW bowled Alderman for 18. England are 31 for 1, and we're in the 13th over.
Lawson runs in, swaggering from side to side, bowls this one, and that's a lovely stroke. That's gone up to the same position, and there's not much point, I think, of the chase this time. It's going over the ropes down the far end, and very nearly hits the Cornhill insurance board for a lovely fall. That was a really majestic stroke by Gooch.
In comes Hughes from the pavilion and bows short outside the off stump, and Barnett carves him sumptuously away for four. That was a real tucking in shot. It was a very bad short long hop outside the off stump, and Barnett threw everything at it, and that fairly flew to the boundary. Hughes runs in again and bowls again short, and he's caught. Caught it forward, short leg by Boone, diving forward. So Hughes knew what he was trying to do, and his theory was absolutely right. Barnett not quite back and on top of that enough. The ball climbing and taking the shoulder of the bat and just lobbing far enough for little Boone to dive forward and take the catch, which gives Australia their second wicket and leaves England, after winning the toss, not at all happily placed really at 52 for 2. Barnett caught Boone, bowled Hughes 14. Noonan comes Lawson of Bursins, Grants for 4 by Gooch. Good shot. Just outside the leg stump, not very far, and Gooch briskly, with a turn of the wrist, clipped it down to very fine leg. There's his first ball. Hughes bowls to him, and getting his head on the pad, they appeal for a bat pad catch. He's out first ball. Triumph for Australia and Mervyn Hughes. A little inside edge onto his pad, and the ball lobbed up, and Boone had the easiest of tasks to catch it before hurling himself into the arms of the nearest fielder.
And Gooch drives hard between slip and gully. It was maybe off the edge. It's not going to reach the boundary, and I suspect that Marsh took a little bit of pace off that. Border takes off after it. He'll pick it up just inside the boundary. Meanwhile, the batsmen continue to run, and run very effectively. So the total goes up to... They ran 4, yes. He bowls to him. And this is down leg side, and he cracks it high and hard down towards fine leg, and he's dropped. It's 4, in fact. Jones got under it. He watched that. It was a difficult catch because he had to make a judgment about the flight in the air down in front of the stand away to the right of the scoreboard, and he eventually shuffled and got round to it, and it spills from the hand and goes over the ropes for 4. Jones, I think, a catch that he would have normally taken. Gower has a life. It's 79 for 3.
Can I just interrupt? We've got another, look as though we've got another warning. Umpire Plews, yes, that is an official warning. He's he's waved his hand at border. He's waved, I would say waved 2 fingers. I don't mean it like that. He indicated that it was the second warning. Alderman has been running through onto the pitch. He's obviously signalled there to Dickie Bird. Border sort of turned round in the slips, looking rather bored by the whole proceedings, but that, I think, is undoubtedly Mike the second warning.
Away goes Hughes now, Bowles to Gower. Gower tucks the spun away round the corner, goes down to backward square leg. The 100 is up on the board, 100 for 3, better position England than they were. The last wicket fell at 58, so that this is a nice little partnership between these two.
Gooch now 60, 131 for 3 as Ward Bowles to Gooch, and he's caught behind by Healy diving in front of first slip. Gooch, I think, will blame himself for that. It may have left him a little, but it was well wide of the off stump, and he followed it. And having got away with it the ball before, he wasn't so lucky that time, and that is a crucial blow struck for Australia by Steve Waugh.
And past the umpire, he bowls to Gower, and Gower struck on the pad. There's an appeal for LBW, looked to be going down leg side. And I think that the slip scored maybe started before the bowler, who eventually asked the question of the umpire, and the umpire turning it down. 166 for 4. This time Gower strokes him beautifully out through the covers. Lovely 4 by Gower. That's the shot that I remember on his last tour of Australia. He really does love to play that shot. Just shove it across, got himself beautifully into position to drive it hard out past Waugh. And another 4 is the result, 4 for 170. Terry Alderman turns at the nursery end. He comes in past umpire Plews and Bowles around the wicket to Gower, and then off the edge of the bat, well, he's just past the gully fieldsman down towards towards third man. And Gower Brett takes the single, which brings up his 50. A half century for the English skipper after a let-off early in the day for him. So he deserves the applause from the crowd here. Wilson bowls to Gower, and Gower cracks this out through square leg. A lovely shot for 4. Eased into that. And when this man is timing the ball like this, it really is, and it always has been a pleasure to watch him. It's Lawson to bowl to Gower. He's bowled him! He's bowled him. He's chopped it on maybe, or he leant back to try and play the cut shot. I think he's under-edged it, and it's knocked his off stump back. And that is a terrific breakthrough for the Australians and a sad blow for England. Gower is out, bowled by Lawson, 57. England at 180 for 5. Trevor.
Here is Alderman again. He's in now to Embry. He's there, he bowls. Embry bowled him, he bowled him. And that is the 6th wicket down. England are now 185 for 6. Embry bowled by Alderman, looking to me to be playing a bit across that one. And he was out for naught. Another wicket has gone down. And really, this is another very sad England batting performance, we thought. Lawson, meantime, is on his way. He's up to the wicket now, past umpire Bird. He bowls it short, and Smith hooks that splendidly. He's caught there. Brilliantly caught by Holmes at mid-on. When he went off the bat, it looked as though it had gone away for 4. He hit it very hard, and Holmes at mid-on took the low catch.
Lawson comes up and bowls again. And that one turned away off his legs there by Russell. And he's going to get 2 runs, possibly 3, as Holmes has to run across the mid-on. They're going to get 3. He turned that one wide of where mid-on would have been. It brings the 200 up. Gives the English supporters something to cheer about. 201 for 7.
In comes Hughes and bowls a bouncer, and Foster goes for the hook, and he's hit in the helmet, in the face. He has got a helmet on with a grill. He went to try and hook that up towards the mound stand, but I'm afraid one of England's main strike bowlers has been hit in the face here.
Hughes bowls to Foster again, and this time Foster goes after it. He hits that hard and high, and he's out caught. No, he's not. Over the top, that will be judged. Has that catch been affected inside? Well, the Australian fielders are going out. Foster stands there, and Jonesy is now going to talk to Alan Border, and I think he's going to say that his foot is on the rope, or there's shaking of hands. Now, what is the situation here? Out.
Yes, he's given him out.
He's been given out. Foster puts the bat under his arm and starts to walk.
And it's Merv Hughes once more coming up to the wicket. He bowls now to Jarvis outside the off-stump. Another scything stroke. He's beautifully caught there in the gully by Marsh. Two-handed to his right. Well, he hit that one very well. As it went off the bat, he must have fancied his chances of getting a 4. But Marsh plucked it down out of nowhere. England have lost their 9th wicket at 253. Jarvis, who seemed hell-bent from the moment he came in on getting himself out, has been caught in the gully by Marsh off Hughes for 6.
Lawson bowls, and Russell hits him off the back foot, out to deep extra cover again for a single, becomes England's highest scorer and gets a round of applause for it. 280 for 9.
Here comes Alderman in. Dilly Boat, and he's out. He's caught there by Border at second slip. And so England's last wicket partnership has come to an end. Alderman has struck. Dilly is out. Caught Border low down at second slip of Alderman for 7. 286 all out England. The last wicket stand of 33. And here is Dilly, running in for the last ball of the first day. He's up to the wicket now. He's there. He bowls outside the off-stump. Marsh takes his bat away and sets off for the pavilion as though his very life depends upon it. And the score is 4 for no wicket. Then this in reply to England's total of 286. Here is Dilly. He's in now. He bowls. Owen Bartlett. Oh, he's caught behind. That was a marvellous catch by Russell. He pushed half forward. It got the edge, and Russell took off like a latter-day Alan Knott or a modern-day Jack Russell, and he dived over in front of slip. It really was a marvellous acrobatic catch. He covered a great distance, and Marsh is out. Caught by Russell off the bowling of Dilly for 3. Australia are 6 for 1. And my goodness me, that really is the start that England so desperately wanted today.
Down around the ground as Dilly bowls again, and this time Taylor is beaten outside the off stump. Late miss. Beautiful bit of bowling by Graham Dilly. He's bowling high quality stuff here, and emphasising how England miss him. And no ball signal, I think, or a warning, is it? It's a warning. It's an official warning to Neil Foster by umpire Bird for following through onto the pitch. Dilly comes in and starts you have a majestic drive by Boone for 4 down to the mound stand. The shot of the morning so far. A beautifully executed cover drive.
Up comes Dilly now, bowls this one, and there was a nice off drive there, going up towards the long off boundary, and it's going to reach it, I think, quite easily, because it's a fast outfield, and it's 4 runs now, over the rope.
Jarvis is in. He's there. He bowls to Boone. Boone goes to pull this round the corner, and he played, that was on him before he realised, and he's been hit a nasty one just on the top of the left thigh. He's going, the chaps in the mound stand think it's rather funny. I don't know, isn't it unfair? Whenever someone gets hurt like that and gets hit in the most painful position of all, everyone falls down and laughs. Roster's in, bowls to Taylor. Taylor's forward, driving 4 runs. That was a lovely stroke. He hit that beautifully. He reached just a fraction for it. Hit it square, just to the left of Jarvis. It was, it went away very quickly indeed.
In comes Jarvis, bowls to Taylor, who turns his off his leg. That's his 50. He goes down there to long leg, and it's returned, and they just take the one single. Returned by John Embry down there. Loud applause for Taylor, who raises his bat in acknowledgement. One is on the leg stump. He's hit away up to long on, and it's going up to the long on boundary, and that is 4 runs. As one of the stewards pick it up. So Boone has reached his 50 as well. Both batsmen on 50. Congratulations to both of them. He waves his bat at the crowd. And a very warm appreciation, because they've, without attacking the bowling from us, they played very good cricket for Australia this morning.
All is well now. It is behind Embry's arm. Here he is, up to the wicket post. Taylor is forward. And he's caught. Is he caught that? Taylor, no. The ball's gone off his pad to Smith. The umpires are going to... Oh, no, they're not. And Bill Frindle's going to consult. Jarvis is in now, bowls to Boone. Boone drives, and he's dropped there at backward point by Barnett, diving to his right. It was in the air. He got both hands to it. It bubbled out, and so Boone has got away with that one.
Foster, long strides, comes in and bowls. Oh, good delivery. Appeals for LBW. Too high. I think he's given him up. Not too high. Taylor was on the back foot. It cut back with the slope a little bit, and the only question for umpire Blues was whether it would have gone over the stumps or not.
Now Dilly starts in again. trots the wicket, past umpire Dickie Bird, bowls to Boone, and Boone goes after this and cracks it out through backward point for 4. Oh, he measured that off and really got it in the full meat of the bat. And Norman O'Neill has just lifted his feet off the ground as Boone reaches 87 and Australia reach 179 for 2. It's probably just about the shot of his innings. As Dilly bowls to him again, and Boone drives straight back up the ground. That's a lovely shot again by Boone, a drive through mid-off. And that brings him another 4. So he's not on 87 very long, Norm O'Neill. He goes to 91 now, and the total goes up to 183 for 2.
Yes, Dilly doesn't look entirely happy with life at the moment, but he's plugging away, blonde hair flopping as he goes in. But caught at second slip, so it was worth plugging, and poor David Boone has missed his 100. He followed that outswinger and just nudged it to Gooch at second slip. Gooch has been easily the most reliable of the England slip fielders since Ian Botham has been out of the side. And Boone is denied the 100 that I'm sure no one in the ground would wish him to have been denied. And I count all 11 England players amongst them. Obviously, they would have liked to have got him out for 100, but I think all of them will feel sorry that he didn't get 6 more. Foster bowls to Jones, and Jones leg glances for 4. Delicate shot, and Foster will be furious with himself for again just straying towards that leg stump. And Jones just a flick of the wrists and 4 runs. So he's gone to 5 from 2 balls that he's received. 200 is up, 201 for 3. 25 not out at the other end to Border.
Embury is starting again into the left-handed Border. He bowls. Border sweeps. Oh, and he's going to be caught there. Short fine leg. He's out. Smith takes the catch. Border is out, and that I think was quite a well-baited trap. The fielder was there about 30 yards from the bat. Border swept, got the top edge, and a little dolly catch went to Smith, who made no mistake about it, and Border looks a little bit irritated with himself. He's out for 35. The score now is 221 for 4. And England, at this moment, I think, would be feeling fairly pleased with the way things have gone.
I think after coming back, all the bowlers doing a lot of work. He's done the most, 26 over this is. He's taken 1 for 58. He comes in now and bowls, and that one is hit on the back of his eye. Loud appeal, turned down. Up comes Foster again, bowls this one. And that one is given out, LBW. That one is given out, so Jones is LBW, Bill Foster for 27. The score is 235 for 5.
Well, I must break off a little red aeroplane with 2 lovely little blue engines is buzzing across. Blue engines with red noses. Embury, it is Jarvis again, coming in, this anti-penultimate over of the day. Bowls. Oh, and Walker going caught behind. He's quite heated, rather, caught behind. And that one, was that what? Healy. And he went back, got the outside edge, and through it went there to Russell, who took the catch. And the score is 265 for 6. Umpire Bird has taken his cap off and is just rubbing his face with his left hand. And here comes Jarvis now. The last ball of the second day's play. He's in. He bowls now to Hughes. And Hughes plays that away on the onside. Is he out? No. It bounced just in front of Gower, who ran in, tried to get a left hand under it. Couldn't. And he went on behind him for 1 run. And Jarvis goes back, picks the ball up. Hughes has got another single. He could so easily have been out. He chipped that in the air. It was just short of Gower. And so Hughes goes into the pavilion with 2 to his name. Waugh is not out 35. Waugh's the man the Australians will be glad to see there at the end. And that after the first over with the second new ball bowled by Jarvis. The score 276 for 6.
And Dilly, with the crowd murmuring behind him, moves in and bowls it to Hughes. And Hughes edges it and is caught at second slip. No, dropped. Miss Foster trying to do so, bowls to Waugh on the leg stump. Waugh pushes it out to mid-wicket, and there's his 50. Fielded by Barnett. Well played, Steve Waugh. In comes Foster and bowls to Hughes, who hooks it in the air. This time he's going to be caught, is he? It lands just in front of deep square leg there. In comes Foster and bowls to Hughes short, and Hughes cuts rather well here. That's going to be 4 runs. That's a very good shot. In comes Dilly and bowls edge between second and third slip for 4 runs.
As Jarvis bowls to Hughes again, and he drives him straight back down the ground, wide of the bowler for 4. Foster to Hughes again, and he edges and he's caught. Caught at second slip by Graham Gooch. Merv Hughes is out. caught Gooch. Bowled Foster for 30.
There's Jarvis. He's in now. He bows to War. War drives handsomely through the covers. Is that going to be 4? I think it is. Barnett won't get to it. He dives. He doesn't get to it. Dickie Bird is warning Foster for following through on the pitch. He's the second warning he's had. And Gower has been told, the other umpire, Plews, has been told, and so obviously has the bowler.
Well, here comes Embry and bows to Holmes and bowl. He tried to cut. The ball just went straight on with the arm and hit his off stump. Holmes bowled Embry 21, Australia 381 for 8.
Look, I've set my mind for the last month to have my jaw wired, so I can't eat Brian's cakes. Foster bowls to Lawson, and Lawson drives uppishly, but it's going to come down towards the pavilion. That'll be the 100 lead for Australia. A straight drive back over the bowler's head. Gower gives up the chase, and it runs into the boundary for 4. Lawson goes up to 6, and Australia's lead now exceeds 100. 389 for 8, so that's a lead of 103 runs.
And here is Dilly. He's in now. He bowls to War. War drives into the covers. Ganningfield throws at the stumps, misses, and they're going to get overthrows here. That's War's 100. He got 1. They've got 2 as the ball is fielded there by Foster. Down a deep backward square leg. War raises his bat to the crowd, to the Australian dressing room in the modern fashion. And gentleman in a turquoise shirt and a white sun hat standing against the blue sort of assistant sight screen at the back of the free seats there at the far end. He's left hand on his hip, and he's plenty of places to sit there. Maybe he's just enjoying preening himself and standing in the sun.
As the tennis balls come back on, try without England, somebody suggesting. Waits for Jarvis, who bows to him from the pavilion end. Well pitched up, Moore hits it hard, and very nearly brilliantly caught by Embry at mid-on. It just evades his right hand as he dived to his right. It was a wonderful effort.
100 partnership in 76 minutes.
100. Gooch to War, and War turns this out through square leg. That'll be the 500th run as Jarvis whips the return back in. But War's single takes him to 142, and Australia to 500 for 8.
Lawson. Here's Embry. Up to the wicket now. He bowls to Lawson. Lawson's down the wicket. Hits this high in the end. He could be caught there at Dion off. He is. Chris Broad was underneath that, and Lawson is out. At long last for England. He's caught by Broad off Embry at deepish mid-on, running back behind the bowler, and he's gone for 74, and Australia have lost their 9th wicket for 511. If the wicket falls now, we have tea, don't we? Brian Johnston zips up his trousers and no longer reveals the pass. I don't know what's happening in this commentary box, really. It's striptease time up there. Brian has got his dress in good order now. 514 for 9. What are we going to see next, Boyle?
Embry bowls, and War gets his 150 as he moves down the pitch, hits it firmly away to mid-on.
A little bit depressing today, I'm afraid. From an English point of view, from an Australian point of view, tremendous fun.
Embry marches back to his spot, licks his finger. He wants a cup of tea. He wants to get a wicket with this ball. He bowls to Alderman, and Alderman, no, and he's given up. And I'm slightly surprised by that, I must say, because that seemed to me to turn quite a long way and bounce a bit. Alderman on the back foot looking to hit it away on the onside. But Embry has got his cup of tea and his 4th wicket. 5:28 all out Australia. And Steve Waugh triumphant again. 152 not out.
Alderman's coming in. Bells now, and Gooch is hit high up on the pad there, and he's given out LBW. Gooch, LBW for naught, and it's Alderman's.
It's Terry Alderman's 100th Test wicket.
His 100th Test wicket, and he's being surrounded by the fielders there, and Gooch walks back, as sad a figure as you could imagine. Well, this may be the champagne moments of the match. We're still looking for it. There have been many champagne moments, perhaps shall we say, bottles and not magnums at the moment, but England have not yet scored, but they will soon. Stay tuned. When England have scored, this time 4-leg byes.
Alderman it is again, bustling in now. He bowled. Barnett comes forward. He's caught there at Sillimit off. Is he? Yes, he is. He's out. And it caught by Jones. It was onto the edge, onto the pad, I think, and then out to Jones, who took it low down. Barnett waited. Umpire Dickie Bird gave him out, in fact, with his left index finger. England are 18 for 2. Barnett is out. LBW bowled Alderman for 11. And jubilation for the Australians. Jubilation for all of you listening in Australia. And unrelieved gloom for us Poms. Here now is Lawson. He's in. He bowls to Broad. Broad turns this round the corner. It's going away to the square leg boundary for 4 runs. Here is Lawson again. He's in. He bowls to Broad. Oh, he bowled him. He bowled him. His off stump has gone yards back to the wicketkeeper. He drove over the top of that. Lawson runs down the pitch, punching the air. And England are 28 for 3.
Alderman bowls to Gatting. And Gatting taken on the pad. There's a loud shout for LBW. Terry Alderman turns round and asks Dickie Bird. And suddenly Gatting, who I respect and admire tremendously, I know the Australians share in that, but he looks a little bit fallible out there.
Was Lawson in bright sunshine, bowls again to Gatting, 4 square, gets in behind us and steers it away into one of the many gaps, in this case a backward point. The ball just bobbles over the rope, picked up by a steward with a left-handed throw and a fluorescent yellow waistcoat. 51 then, England reaching 50 in the 18th over.
He's running up now. What's he going to be? He comes up and bowls to Gatting, and it is a quickie, and Gatting goes off the back foot, pushes back down the pitch, tucks his bat under his arm and walks off. And England are 58 for 3, which means they are still 184 runs behind Australia with 7 wickets in hand. Gatting is 16, Gower is 15. The England scorecard reads Gooch, LBW bowled Alderman 0. Broad bowled Lawson 20. Barnett caught Jones bowled Alderman for 3.
Cricket. When the 4th day's play of the second Test match at Lord's begins tomorrow, Australia will have a lead of 184 runs over England, with the home side on 58 for 3 in their second innings. Following England's woeful day yesterday, their captain, David Gower, caused some comment when he apparently walked out of a press conference after the game. He'd been questioned about his handling of the England fast bowlers during the day, and clearly appeared annoyed. Today, Charles Colville asked Gower what had actually happened.
I was in a bit of a rush, I must admit, yes. I might not have quite got it right. I had a show to go to, and I'd made arrangements to meet a couple of the boys, get some taxis organised, and I was looking in danger of being late for that. So I thought, well, as we weren't making too much progress in the press conference, I thought I'd leave them to it.
So there are sort of various suggestions that you got the hump with some people who were intent upon asking you about which end Foster and Jarvis had bowled from. There wasn't any truth in that.
Well, I mean, fair enough. It was looking like one of those questions that was going to go on for a while. And I suppose what I could do, is answer it now. That'd be the answer.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the plan had been something along those lines, and we started with Neil at the pavilion end because Graham Dilly likes the far end, and the plan had been to say, right, give Neil 3 or 4 overs, 5 overs perhaps at the pavilion end, and switch him down to the other end afterwards. But he was actually quite happy, and he was passing the bat quite well, and he was quite happy at that end, so I let him go, as he was, I thought, bowling well. But obviously I had more faith in him there than the pundits. And in fact, having said that, I mean, the pavilion end itself is probably the better end for seamers to bowl. There is just that fraction more bounce there off what little ridge is left at Lord's, and there's not much of it left there now, but and that was part of the thinking. But as ever, it appears to look slightly different from sort of the middle than it does from the edge.
It's one of those matches where everything really went our way. The players did wonderfully well, the batting was fantastic, and then of course the bowling was the added spice for it as far as we're concerned, but it was a great day for Australia.
We've had to wait for a long time to see Steve Waugh make a Test century. I don't think all of us knew that he was a great player, but this innings today is just confirmation that he really has arrived.
Well, I think what was impressive today is that he was prepared to play second fiddle when he appreciated that the tail were going well, so he was just going to keep up one end nice and tight, and the tail were picking up runs fairly easily, and to me that's the sign of a very mature cricketer, plus a very talented one, of course.
Well, I saw that as further confirmation of just what a tight team this is, and I mean that in all senses of the word, that I don't think I've ever seen a cricket team mat together like this one does.
Well, they're very close, they enjoy each other, they're very determined to do well, they're very proud of being a member of the Australian cricket team, and I think it all comes out when they get out there on the field, and not only on the field, I think they've created an enormous impression off the field, at golf courses, in the hotels, and they take pride in every aspect of being part of the Australian team.
Can I be cheeky enough to ask you what your best possible scenario for this third day was before it started?
Yeah, we would have settled for 100 runs lead, and then would have taken anything after that.
Well, if we can conjure up a victory out of this, and very clearly we're on top, 2-0 up, and then I think realistically we'd be thinking very much of the Ashes.
Well, we'll worry about that, I think, Neville. At this stage, we're worrying about the next day. We're not trying to look ahead. There's no way we're going to be complacent about anything. We just want to go and play nice, tough cricket. And if we win this one, and we're confident we will, then we're in a great position to go into the third test, and we'll worry about that then.
What are the feelings in the team as to the way this pitch is playing?
The general feeling is starting to do a little bit. The occasional one's keeping a bit low and occasional one's stopping. It's still a very good batting wicket. But if you put pressure on and the situation is tight, then, as we've seen, things can go your way.
And really the game is set up for Australia to maintain an enormous amount of pressure on the middle-order English batsmen with such a tidy lead.
No doubt about that. With a 200-plus lead starting this innings, we obviously can attack, put the pressure on and bring a bat pad in as we did to get Barnett caught on the offside. That's an enormous help. A lot of times that sort of situation wouldn't have arisen because you wouldn't have fieldsmen there. But we've got runs to play with, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, it was a great team performance once again. I mean, this morning we were 6 for 276 and we were hoping to sort of get a 50, perhaps 100 lead, and we ended up getting a 230 lead. So, I mean, that was a great team effort. I mean, Jeff Lawson batted tremendously well for his 70, Merv another good 30, Cracker Holmes 20-odd. So, it was a good team effort, and it's something that's very important that the tail order gets runs, and we've done it the last two games.
I think you're being very modest. I want to talk to you about this 150 odd because in terms of the total team performance, it was an enormous contribution. I got the feeling that you got very nervous in the 90s. Is that correct?
Not really. It's just that I found it hard to sort of get more than a single with the field the way it was, and sort of pushing ones, and then I got a little bit tied down. But Jeff Lawson, luckily at that stage, was hitting him very well, so I was happy to give him the strike. But I got a couple of overthrows close to 100, and it sort of just got me there.
As we think back on your Test career now, it amazes me, and I'm sure it'll amaze a lot of people, that it took you so long to get 100. Now the brakes are off, you must feel a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, well, obviously it was a bit of a relief getting the first 100, but it's something I haven't really worried too much about. I think mainly the guys in writing the papers are sort of more worried about it than I was. I was always happy to be consistent, and it's still my main aim, but obviously it's great to get a couple of hundreds on the trot, and it'd be nice to get another one next week. But as I said, it's something I wasn't really losing any sleep over, but once I got it, it was nice to get.
Obviously, in terms of the Ashes and the winning of them, the next couple of days after the rest day are going to be very important for Australia.
Yeah, well, I was, this morning before the game, I think I was talking to a couple of guys, and I was saying that it's probably the most important day of the series today, because if we had a good day today, it could set it up for this Test match. If we get 2-0 up here, we're going to be very hard to beat. So, it's a great day for Australian cricket, and if we can win this one, it's going to be really hard for us to lose.
How do you assess the pitch from a batsman's perspective at the moment?
I think it's generally a pretty good batting wicket. I think probably around about a score of 350 to 400 is probably suited to that sort of wicket. But then again, it is keeping a little bit up and down. And we had a fair share of luck today. They bowled pretty well and could have had a couple of nicks, and we had a few French cuts went our way. But I think you've got to take it when it's running like that. But I think around 350 is a pretty good score on that wicket.
Woodman bowls to him again, and this time he clips that beautifully backward at point for 4. Lovely shot by David Gower. And goes Lawson again, and bowls to Gatting. And Gatting taken on the pad. There's an appeal for LBW, and I think we're going to hear this time and time and time again today. That really was worth a yell. Lawson bowls to Gower again, and Gower cuts, and into the gully. He's caught, is he? Did that carry? I really thought for a second that Marsh had that. There's a roar goes up from the crowd, and I grabbed it from the field glasses too, but I think that's carried on the bounce. Garrett actually started to walk. He now turns around and acknowledges Marsh. Thank you very much for that.
Now it's Alderman coming in, Burls to Gatting. There's an appeal. Rush, look, he's given out. Yeah, he's touched it. Outside is off stump, and Gatting is caught there by Weed Keeper, and Alderman's got another wicket. And
Ted Dexter. John Reeder, who of course makes them, Tim Lamb, cricket secretary of the TCCB, will be joining Andy Smith, and they'll be talking about balls. So there you are. So when Merv Hughes is now standing on his head and waving his legs, and the crowd absolutely love it. Marvellous sight that was. It's going to be Trevor Holmes, the leg spinner, to continue in the sunshine. The sun is flicking in and out of the clouds today. A couple of buses go down the Wellington Road, one into London, one out of London. Here is Holmes. He's in. He bowls. Guy's full loss. Guy drives. And that's 4 runs. That's a lovely stroke. And that's his 50. That's a lovely way to reach your half century. Here comes Hughes now. Up to the wicket. He's there now. He bowls. And Guy, he plays it again. I can't bear it. We're getting a bit partisan. But
if we were to bring the microphone right up the effects mic, will we get a buzz? I'll keep quiet. It's rather like putting your head inside a hive. I don't think you've quite got as big a buzz there. A lot of them haven't returned from lunch, but it is a constant conversation. Buzz, 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 buzz.
Alderman bows to Smith. Goes through the hands of Boone at forward short leg, and I think there's not much doubt that probably had a bit of bat on it.
It's Lawson once again from the pavilion end, running away from us, kicking up his heels behind him. Here he is now in, he bowls, and Smith drives. That must be 4 runs. It's a lovely stroke. It's his 50, and what a way to get it. It was a wide half volley. He leant into it and really smacked it through the covers. Hughes and Waugh had no chance, and Smith gets a great round of applause for a splendid innings of 50.
Alderman bowls to Gower again, and Gower drives. He's dropped again. I think that went to hand at the first of the 2 gullies, and Waugh might have just got his hand to that. It went through at about chin height and was really revving through that area, and whilst he might have got his hand to it, had he held it, it would have been an absolutely extraordinary catch. Gower goes into the 90s. He's 91, and that's the 200 on the board for England. 4 for 200. Water comes in and bowls to Gower, and Gower struck on the pad. A loud call of how was he, and as umpire Dickie Bird moved the hand that controls the flow of marbles, that in turn controls the over, I thought for a moment he was going to give him out. Well worth a shout. Border bowls to Gower again, and Gower drives. He'll take a single here. Away he goes. And so Gower registers 100 as the return comes back into the keeper, and it comes at a magnificent time as far as England are concerned. He's going to receive a standing ovation here. The captain that walked out of the press conference on Saturday night and incurred the wrath of the local press answers in the most positive fashion with 100 runs, 253 minutes, 191 balls, 15 fours, and I suppose there's no better way to answer the critics than that.
106 not out, waits as Hughes comes up to him, bowls, and that was a nasty one too. It is caught behind. Caught a backward short leg by Border off a short ball. He fended it off, and Border has caught it. So Hughes, his short stuff has paid off. Gar caught Border, bowled Hughes for 106. England 223 for 5. As I said, they're not out of the wood yet. But up comes Hughes now. Bowls this one. And that one he just does sway back from it. He goes through, and Hughes does a out-turn somersault, landing on the seat of his pants in the danger area. And he'll probably be warned by the umpire. It's worse. Hughes' bottom is worse than a lot of boots, I think. Here's Lawson, comes up now, bowls well pitched up outside the leg stump. And that bat and pads he caught, he is a short leg. Russell is out, caught by Boone at short leg. He's out for 29. Lawson has got his wicket. So, caught Boone, bowled Lawson for 29, and back comes Russell. But he's played a sturdy little knock. Could you tell me how old the King of Tonga's tortoise is? It was a gift to the King of Tonga and was the pride of Queen Saloti.
These clouds are getting a little bit steely, and I dare say England are looking at them as rather as they might see the dust of the cavalry coming over the horizon. And it is Terry Alderman coming in on this straight run, the 12th over with this new ball. He's up to the wicket now. He's there. He bowls to Smith. Smith. Oh, he bowled him. It bowled him. It bowled him, and Alderman is punching the air. And there again, Smith was aiming, was playing that, I thought, to leg. It left him late. It hit the off stump, and he's out, bowled by Alderman for 96. Here's Alderman again, in to bowl to Foster. He's up to the wicket now. He's there. He bowled. Foster's forward. It's in the air. He's out. He's LBW, I think. Caught, was it? It was caught. Yes, I thought umpire Bird's finger up was up before. Anyway, Foster is out. He was certainly, Jones tumbled forward and caught that one at short leg. And 5 wickets for Alderman for the 3rd time in the series. Foster forward, umpire Bird gave him out so rapidly, I just still not absolutely certain in my mind whether that was caught at short leg or LBW. A little red aeroplane buzzes away by the post office tower. The score is 304 for 8. Jarvis is 0. Embury is 12. And thank you, Bill.
Alderman bowls to Jarvis again, and Jarvis pads up. That's close. That's out. He padded up to a ball that obviously to Alderman is a great danger. He bowls wicket to wicket, and as soon as no shot was off it and it struck him on the pad, Dickie Bird, not an easy man to get LBW decisions out of, had the hand going very quickly to fire Jarvis, who's out LBW to Alderman for 5, and the total now 9 for 314, and that's 6 wickets now for Terry Alderman in this innings. Alderman comes around the wicket, and he bowls to Dilly, and Dilly defends. Straight back up to the bowler, and that is the end of the 4th day's play of this second test match. England finishing the day at 9 for 322. That's an overall lead of 80, 1 wicket left. And weather permitting, you'd think Australia would take a 2-0 lead in the series sometime tomorrow. Hughes shuffles into the wicket again. He bowls to Embury, and Embury swats this to Gully, and he's dropped.
Here is Hughes in, bowls Dilly. Dilly comes forward. He goes off the pad down to forward short leg, and he's given out. Caught by Boone. Umpire Blues thought about that for a long time, and then raised his left index finger. Dilly's innings has come to an end. England are all out for 359. Few umbrellas. I can see rather smart green. Oh, I say, you probably heard that in Australia. That was rather significant. You probably heard the cheers that greeted. That's a tremendous crack of thunder.
Then comes Dilly and bowls. Oh, bowls it! He played no stroke, Marsh, and could hardly believe it as the dreaded sound of the off-stump being uprooted was heard a split second later. Foster runs in and bowls on the off-stump. I think he got a touch to that, and I think Russell missed a catch off the inside edge.
I've had an extraordinary piece of news from the Australian dressing room. I believe that today there was a big sign out on the balcony which said, "Will you marry me?" And isn't that nice? Now, I believe that a young Tasmanian pace bowler might have found a very novel way of proposing to his wife-to-be, whose name I think is Kimbrough, lives down in Hobart, as Foster runs away from us again and bowls to Taylor. And Taylor drives, and he's out caught, is he? A very good catch taken by Gooch at second slip, and the umpire's not given the catch. Now, what's going on here? Taylor is standing his ground. Dickie Bird is just looking straight ahead, and umpire Nigel Plews is going to go over and consult. Did it carry? The catch has certainly been claimed by Graham Gooch, and he's out. He bowls to Border. Border hooks, and he's out. He's been caught by the substitute fieldsman, Robin Sims. He's hooked it straight down his throat. So Border is out. Caught Sims, the substitute fieldsman, off Foster for 1. And Australia 3 for 61. Australia.
Foster comes in again, bowls to Jones, who's not yet off the mark. He bowls it short. Jones pulls this away. It's in the air. Russell's underneath it. He's caught it. Jones is out. Caught by Russell. Bowled by Foster. He went for the hook. He didn't move inside the line. It went up in the air. Russell went after it, and in the backward square leg position, he held the catch. 67 for 4.
Now it's Dilly to take up the attack. He goes in from the pavilion end and bowls to Boone wide of the off stump, and he clouts it out into the covers. Misfield by Gower, and we really can't roast him for that because he's fielded splendidly. The batsmen have taken 2, and they're going to go back for the 3rd. And my word, they were running well between wickets there. So Boone taking 3 there, goes to his 50. A half century for David Boone. He's 51 and nudging Australia closer to victory at 106 for 4. Boone, in comes Jarvis. He bowls to War, and War drives away out through the covers. That's victory for the Australians. It runs out towards the point boundary. The Australians, War and Boone, are exuberant as the ball rolls over the rope. So the Australians win by 6 wickets.
It hasn't been an easy test match for you at all. Did you feel that yesterday's 100 took a bit of pressure off you?
It certainly helps. I mean, it doesn't solve the problem completely, obviously. And it would have been even better had we managed to somehow sneak a draw. I suppose a victory would have been a little bit out of the question, but had we managed to sneak a draw with the help of a bit of weather, or a bit more weather today, then that would have given us just a bit of a breather. And to only be 1-0 down at that stage would have been slightly better than being 2-0 down. But certainly the hundreds, I suppose, a certain personal satisfaction. It's been numbed a bit by other events. it certainly doesn't help cure the problem entirely.
There were some heartening aspects of the fight back yesterday and today. Did you ever let yourself think of Headingley 81?
Well, yes, and today again, of course, at 67 for 4. Be interesting to actually see what the fourth wicket went down at Headingley in whenever it was 81. But that gives you always got a memory of it. And it helps having been at Headingley just to have a bit of a memory of it. But I suppose the unfortunate thing is that when you're involved in a once-in-a-lifetime game 8 years ago, it's asking a bit too much to repeat it quite so soon.
And you must have had a wry smile when Neil Foster started bowling like a dream from the pavilion end.
Well, yes, I mean, in all honesty, it's in some ways it's a shame I didn't really answer the question properly on Saturday. But certainly the other thing I can say now is that from a little bit of time spent at the crease on Monday, the seamers seemed to do more damage as well. It seemed capable of doing more damage as far as I was concerned from the other end. Then, of course, Terry Alderman takes his wickets from the nursery end. But it's a bit of a mix and match job, and there are reasons for bowling at the far end, there are reasons for bowling at this end. And it just so happened that, to my mind on Saturday, the reasons for Neil bowling, continuing to bowl, shall we say, at the pavilion end, just outweighed the reasons for switching him down the other end, which had been in my mind, but was rejected.
Really, in retrospect, I mean, the disaster was just that one bad day on Saturday, wasn't it?
Well, yes. I mean, disappointing not to get the runs, or more runs on the first day. Various things happened there, which we couldn't really do much about. But yes, having been back in it a bit on Friday night, and the number of times the ball went past the bat on Saturday was more than just a little frustrating. And I'd like to analyse how many, for instance, with no disrespect, how many of Jeff Lawson's runs came off the middle of the bat, and how many came off the edge. That would make interesting analysing anyway. It's just, I mean, it really was a depressing day in the sense that we kept thinking, well, it must be a wicket, this wicket's got to fall now, outside the edge of the bat again it goes. And yet, instead of that, there were plenty of runs and not too many wickets falling until we batted.
You seem to have two main thorns in your flesh at the moment, Messrs. Waugh and Alderman.
Well, yes, I mean, Steve again comes out tonight, smashes one to point and sees it go to ground again. He's certainly on the crest of the wave, certainly playing very well. I suppose he's waiting for the day when it starts to go wrong a bit. But, and again, I mean, just to make the point, I mean, he did go past the outside edge of his bat a few times on Saturday. He wasn't completely plain sailing for him. It wasn't as though he made no mistakes or was never in trouble. But when you're playing that well and when the ball's running for you, make the most of it, and that's what he's doing.
And the irony is that you now leave Lords and go off to Telford to play Shropshire for Leicestershire. It's a bit difficult, isn't it, when you've got to pick another test team on Friday? It's a bit of a change of atmosphere. And, of course, as ever, you've seen minor counties on their home grounds embarrass major counties. And you have to say, well, there's nothing taken for granted. The only thing that I do know is that I've got to drive up there tonight at some stage and be up early in the morning to play again. But you can look ahead to Edgbaston and remember what you did there 4 years ago.
We shall certainly try and do that. We try to remember what we did them at Headingley 4 years ago. We'll just try and make sure that it comes our way now.
With the weather forecast, the way they work, is it a worrying night for you at the moment?
Not so much last night, but this morning with the forecast and then the rain coming right on lunchtime, we're a little bit concerned, obviously.
2 up, Alan. How does it feel?
Hard to describe. I'm very proud of the boys. 2-0 up. It probably hasn't quite sunk in at the moment. I mean, the first Test victory was sensational, but to win here, it's very, very special to me personally because it's been a bit of a hard road. So I think everyone realises, it's been a great performance from the Australian cricket team, but we've still got a long way to go.
Is there any way the Ashes is going to slip from your grasp?
Well, I'd like to think not, but I'm not going to count any chickens just yet. I don't sort of view things that way because the game can to and fro. I think in these 2 Test matches, the ball has rolled our way a little bit. There's been little bits and pieces of hiccups, but generally, we've had our fair slice of luck. And, I still believe that the sides are very evenly matched, and just given certain circumstances in any particular day, it can sort of swing either way. At the moment, it's going very much for us. Very. Obviously, I've played in a lot of games where we've managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So straight after lunch, I went and had a shower for about an hour, and the boys wouldn't let me back in the room until we were pretty close to victory. So yeah, I was very, very nervous, obviously, about the final outcome. But the two guys out there batting did a great job. Yes, they're both playing in our next two games, I think. Simo here.
Yeah.
And Tiku.
not playing at Watford, but Carl reckons Tim May's playing in Glamorgan.
Yeah, so they're both playing Glamorgan, and just depending on the outcome of that game as far as those two are concerned, and looking at the Edgbaston wicket, etc., we'll make our choice then.
And the most obvious thing there about your performance, or rather team's performance, is the way it sort of all gelled together in these last two games in the most amazing way. So what would you ascribe that? Is it being on tour, being together all the time? David Garr before, you were saying that it's very difficult to get England together because they go off in different directions.
I think that is one advantage of being the touring side. If you start playing good cricket, it's very easy to build up a team spirit. And obviously, right at this stage, the spirit couldn't be better in our camp. And same situation happens, I suppose, say when we're playing in Australia, the boys go off and play shield cricket. But we've had a reasonably stable nucleus for a few years now, so we've got a very good team spirit. And that does get you through a lot of the tough times.
And of course, nothing seems like success.
Exactly. Yeah, we're sort of going into every game very positive frame of mind, and we believe we can win cricket matches.
Just going back to your show, you said that you were very nervous and the lads wouldn't let you out. Is that because they thought that your nerves might get passed on?
Very superstitious dressing rooms. Probably, I don't know whether you've been in cricket dressing rooms, but blokes sit in the same seat and they're not allowed to get up from that seat. And when it gets a bit tense, they're the sort of things that you have to go through. And I just chose to go and have a long shower just after lunch. And once we were sort of creeping towards the target, came back in and into the rooms, the boys wouldn't let me in. So I sort of pranced around out in the showers for another 15, 20 minutes, had a shave and bits and pieces, and came in and saw the last 15 runs.
Terry Allman moved to first slip today and tell the second happens to the West.
Oh no, it's just something those two discussed. They're both sort of equally good at first or second slip. Just for today, they just decided to swap it around just to see if it felt any different, better. No big deal.
Were you kicking yourself about your own fairly bizarre dismissal, the circumstances leading up to it?
Well, the circumstances leading up to it, I've never faced a ball like that in Test cricket. But I disappointed with the shot. There's margins in the game. I thought the shot was on. They're sort of crowding us. I was a little bit worried about weather. I wanted to play my shots, and it's just one of those ones. Went straight to the fielder. Yeah.
Are you surprised you didn't get Garrow and Zellmunis for that?
Oh, not really. That's the game. I don't beat the bat all that often, so I get a bit excited.
The results of suddenly haven't done in your favour. And in view of that, this result, do you think you're having a decent passage?
No, I think this has been a very, very good test match. It's toed and froed a hell of a lot. I thought yesterday's cricket was, as I explained to our fellas, very typical test match cricket. It was hard. It was a long day on the field. The English batsmen got stuck in. And I thought that was typical of Test cricket, and I think most of the game was very typical of Test cricket. And our boys fought hard, and I thought we thoroughly deserved to win the game. I don't think it was an easy passage. I thought we really had to work hard. It's a very good track, and I've got to give that credit to our bowlers for bowling England out twice.
When history is made.
That's it! That's caught! That's the game! Queensland finally has beaten New South Wales.
in a Sheffield Shield final.
ABC Sport is there.
The Lions are the queens of the AFLW. Third time is the charm for Brisbane.
Commercial free.
That is taken. Australia has done it again.
ABC Sport. On radio, online, and on the ABC Listen app.
Hello, I'm Ned Hall. It's off to the third test of the 1989 Ashes series. Australia 2-0 up in the series, a resounding victory by 210 runs in the first test match at Headingley, followed up by a 6-wicket win at Lords to give them a 2-0 lead from the opening two matches. After that, it was off to Edgbaston, a match, though, which was blighted by poor weather and eventually ended in no result. The player of the match, though, was Dean Jones, who batted superbly for 157 in a match where Angus Taylor made his test debut for England. Enjoy highlights of the third test of the 1989 Ashes series.
Here is Embry in. Bowes Taylor's down. He's stumped. He's out. He's stumped. He's stumped by Russell. He went down the pitch, pushed and missed, and he came back quickly before the ball got to wicketkeeper Russell. But Russell had the bails off. Dickie Bird had his finger up, and that is Russell's first stumping in Test cricket.
Well, it's both of them. He bowled 8 overs in succession before lunch. Now this is his 5th since lunch. Running away from us, off about 8 yards, comes in and bowls. And Marsh is hit that ball on the pad. He's out. He's out. Marsh is out.
105 for 2, the Australian total, after they'd won the toss and elected to bat. Bowles, and trying to fan it off. Border finds himself bowled at leg stump. Here comes Jarvis. Jarvis bowls to Jones, who tries to hook him. Hooks down. That's his 50. It's only a single as Dilly makes ground. No, they're taking 2.
Jarvis to Jones, and Jones deflects the ball behind square on the onside down to Dilly, and that's the 200 up for Australia for the loss of 3 wickets. These two came together at 105, so they've steered Australia out of a slightly sticky situation. Jones goes up to 58, Boone 38, and Australia now 200 for 3. Jarvis starts new over. He bowls to Jones, who smashes the ball back down, and Boone's been run out. Boone has been run out. Jarvis just getting his hand to the ball. It's deflected onto the stumps at the non-striker's end. And in the most unlikely circumstances, Boone has been run out for 38, and Australia 4 for 201. Jones straight driving the ball, deflected onto the stumps. Boone is out. Jones is disgusted. Boone is less than impressed. 4 for 201. What a breakthrough.
There may be a thunderstorm coming, but if it's black at the back, well, they sometimes go off there. And believe me, they've offered it to the batsmen, and the batsmen have accepted.
To use that marvellous old newspaper cliche, a storm of tropical intensity really swept this ground. It was so dark one could not see the scoreboard on the other side. The lights in the hospitality boxes were vaguely discernible. Stygian darkness descended upon the ground. Rain lashed across it, followed by hailstorms, and now Edgbaston is soaking up not sunshine, but the results of that torrential downpour. There is water all over the pitch. Mercifully, the Brumbrella was quickly into position. The bowlers' run-ups are covered, but how effective they will be in this storm, I don't know. We still have thunder, lightning, and all in all, it's rather like the last act of a Wagner opera. However, we have had, during the course of the day, a lot of interesting cricket. So let me first of all give you the scorecard. Australia, who won the toss and elected to bat, lost Marsh. LBW bowled Botham 42. Taylor stumped Russell, bowled Embry 43. Boone run out 38. Border bowled Embry 8. And when the premature close was applied, Jones was not out 71 and Waugh was on 17. The England bowling figures: Dilly 10 overs, 1 maiden, no wicket for 39. Jarvis 15 overs, 3 maidens, no wicket for 61. Fraser making his test debut: 14 overs, 3 maidens, no wicket for 26. Botham on his return to Test cricket: 19 overs and 3 balls, 5 maidens, 1 wicket for 50. Embry 25 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 51.
Now Dilly starts new over and he bowls to Steve Waugh, who drives it straight back up the wicket wide of the bowler. Might have just got fingertips to it, and he looks at his fingers ruefully as the batsmen tear up and down. Angus Fraser is approaching the ball now, and he slings the return in. And that's another 3 runs onto the total. So that's the 250 up for Australia.
So, Bad Light has stopped play with the Australians having progress from 232 for 4 to 257 for 4. 25 runs added in rather quick time, despite England taking the new ball. 23 minutes, 25 runs, and sadly, Bad Light has stopped play again.
Here is Fraser again in, bowls to Waugh. Waugh, bowl him, it's bowled him, that's his third wicket in Test cricket. Waugh is out for the first time this summer in the Test series. He has made 43, and so he is now got an average of 393. And Fraser has got a very considerable first wicket in Test cricket. He came half forward, it cut back into him, it hit the off stump, and Waugh is out. Bowled by Fraser for 43, and Australia are 272 for 5.
He runs away, his elbows working away like this. He bowled him. It bowled him, off stump knocked back, another one that just came back at him, and I'm not sure whether he's even playing a stroke. He did something very strange at it, and so Healy is bowled by Fraser, his second Test wicket, and Australia now 289 for 6, and Healy out for 2, and it's a wicket maiden. Keeps his head down the last moment, then looks up as Dilly runs in at the angle past John Hilda, bowls to him. That's a bouncer, and he chops that one, and he goes up past third man. Is it going to be saved by Embry in the far corner? He's back-heeled it, and he's saved 1 run. He got 3 runs, and brings him the 100 there. But Dean Jones, 100, takes his cap off, and how nice to see someone taking a cap off and acknowledging the chairs, waving his bat, pointing to his fellow men in the dressing room, and applause from everybody. As usual, it's nice to see the England players applauding, and well done, Jones. So that's 100, and he's taken 206 minutes, 160 balls, 11 fours. It's his 5th 124 Tests, and his 2nd against England, but his 1st in England here.
Dilly bowls to Hughes, and Hughes is caught at second slip by Botham. Straight forward edge, going straight to Botham at second slip. He takes it at about waist height, and Hughes, who had tried so many times to get a touch outside the off stump, at last is successful. Method of dismissal, Hughes caught Botham at second slip off Dilly for 2, and Australia 299 for 7. In goes Fraser, bowls to Jones again, and Jones whips this one off the pads down towards fine leg and walks through to take a single, and that single will put the 300 on the board for Australia. Angus Fraser doesn't seem all that happy, but it was pitched just on that perfect line for Jones to play that shot. It's a shot that he really does love to play. 300 for the loss of 7.
Jarvis to the left-handed hose, catch to Botham, who spills it at second slip.
Away goes Fraser, bowls to Jones again, and Jones lofts this high over John Embury's head. He didn't time that at all well. He's taken 1. He goes back for the 2nd. That's his 150, though. And this has been a terrific knock by Dean Jones. 150 not out, as the Australian total goes to 8 for 412. Dilly starts a new over. He bowls to Lawson, and Lawson hits that hard into his pad, and away they go for a single. There could be a run out here. Lawson goes racing down. Oh! He would have been run out had the ball been cleanly taken at the non-striker's end. And Fraser goes in and bowls to Lawson. He's bowled him. He's bowled him, knocks the leg stump back, and Lawson playing across that. And he really didn't know a great deal about it either. And the leg peg is knocked back, and Lawson is bowled by Fraser for 12, and Australia 9 for 421.
This one now from Fraser. Oh, no, it's gone the court at Foley at square leg, aiming to hit it over square leg, and Foley picked it up very quickly in front of the square leg umpire, and Jones is out. Caught Foley, bowled Fraser to give Fraser his 4th wicket, and Jones is out for a magnificent 157, and Border will not have to declare, because Australia are all out for 424, and Alderman has that proud figure against him of not out, naught.
Here is Lawson running away from us. Big sweatband on the left wrist. He's up to the wicket now. He bowls. Oh, and that must be LBW. It is indeed. Gooch went back. He played across the line and he was working that to leg and he was back on his stumps and Dickie Bird had no hesitation whatever. Gooch, LBW to Lawson for 8. England have lost their first wicket, 17 for 1.
Comes Alderman again, bowls to Guy with bat and pad close together, and he's out LBW, so he got it on the pad, he went out into the covers, and he's given out LBW, just pushing out there and being what looked like slap in front.
Alderman looks a bit fed up at the end of his run. Now he doesn't, because he's on his way in. Bowls to... Oh, and this is a catch to first slip, and he's caught by Taylor. Tabaret just pushing forward, finding the ball, moving off the seam, and England have lost their third wicket. 47 for 3, with Tabaret caught Taylor, bowled Alderman 2.
Hughes bowls to Curtis, and Curtis on the drive. He's taken on the pad. He's out, LBW. Whoa. Well, amazing. He almost walked for that. I think he just looked back at the stumps and thought, well, that's pretty close. And meanwhile, Dickie Bird was getting the hand up. And another wicket has fallen. Curtis, LBW to Hughes, 41. England, 4 for 75. In comes Ward to start a new over. That's outside the off stump, and Barnett rather is out. Caught behind. It was an inglorious shot that he played. It was a ball with plenty of width. He tried to play the cut stroke. I think it came off the under edge of the bat. He's been caught by Healy. And England 75 for 5. And Barnett has played a terrible shot to get out. And so he and his runner trudge back to the pavilion. In goes Hughes, bowls to Botham, and Botham is bowled. He went for the big drive, and it's taken the inside edge, I would presume, and the stumps have been knocked back, and England 6 for 171. Botham bowled Hughes 46, 6 for 171. Well, he went into a big whine. He's disgusted with himself as he walks off. Marsh has been cleverly placed. Holmes bowls to him again. It's outside the off stump, and he's edged it. He's caught, is he? Yes. Caught it slipped by Taylor. So Russell is out. Caught Taylor. Bowled Holmes 42. England 7 for 171.
Holmes again bowls this one outside the off stump, and he plays this one off the back foot, and he flips for a run and goes back quickly because he was well fielded, and he's run out. That's a tragedy. A fine bit of fielding there by Hughes, and Fraser was about 3 or 4 or 5 yards up the pitch, didn't get back in time, and the throw from Hughes, and he's run out.
That's Lawson taking up the attack from the pavilion end. Bowled to Embry on 26, and Embry swings this lustily away to mid-on, and he's caught. Oh dear, not a shot at all in the circumstances, but Embry no doubt looking at 10 runs required, and England now have 9 down, and the 2 tail-end batsmen are going to be together.
Here's Lawson, he's in, he bowls Jarvis outside there, some Jarvis swings it straight down the ground, he's going away for 4 runs, and that is going to be it. Border is chasing it, and he's had to give it best. Well, it was outside off stump. Jarvis hit it a bit bottom-handedly, straight back past Lawson in the air. It went away straight for 4. England have saved the follow-on. They're 225 for 9. A bit of good old Yorkshire phlegm and grit at the end did it.
Up comes Alderman now, bowls this one, and that hits him on the pad. It looks very much out, and it is. Jarvis is out LBW and stays there. He doesn't seem to want to go. And he's LBW, bowled Alderman for 22, 242 all out England, 182 runs behind.
Jarvis in again. Bowls outside, and gets Marsh's wicket at last. Marsh going for a big offside drive, chops from an inside edge into his off stump, and Australia have lost their first second innings wicket.
As Gooch goes in and bowls to Taylor again, and Taylor is off the pad. No, he's actually caught. He's edged that to Botham at first slip. Taylor is out, caught Botham, bowled Gooch 51. Australia 2 for 109.
Yeah, I'm just very happy with the way we played, and it's just disappointing that the weather's sort of intervened.
Think it's in the bag now?
No, I've played too much cricket to start thinking that way. There's no way in the world we're going to be complacent, and just sort of keep playing, hopefully as well as we've been playing, and just see how it develops. For about 10 seconds. I didn't think there was a real chance of bowling England out on that wicket in, say 50 overs, and all it would give England is an outside chance of victory, and I didn't think that was a viable option. So just unfortunately had to bat out the afternoon.
Have you had a more satisfying couple of months in your career as captain?
Not really, no. I think the way the players have responded to everything asked of them, and just the way things have gone for me. I mean, it's it's been good for my captaincy in that the boys are playing well and allowing me to sort of experiment with things. And obviously I've enjoyed sort of being on top in test matches rather than sort of thinking about ways of saving games. So it's made a hell of a difference.
Would you say this is the highlight of your career as a captain?
Well, I think I just said that. I think today it's gone very, very well. So, as a captain, we've had success at one-day cricket, but this is what I really term as the real test as a team, and as for me personally as a captain, I'm very, very happy.
The way England perhaps yesterday surprised you?
In a way, but I thought there were some very good spells of bowling, and the wicket was offering just a little bit. So, and if you just got enough balls in the right area, and they played, a few risky shots, there's always a chance you're going to get wickets. So, just that period of play yesterday, we were sort of right on top. It was looking like we might be able to enforce the follow-on, and I was very, very happy with the way things were going at that stage.
Yesterday, the day when the wicket was first responsible.
Our boys reckoned it spruced up a bit after the little bit of rain, and with the covering on for a long period of time, it did spruce up a bit. But fortunately, the outfield was still wet, so the ball was doing a little bit, but the ball got a little bit water, so sort of the sting went out of it. So once we came to bowl again with the outfield dry, there was a little bit there for us. So it was reasonably responsive without being a real terror trap.
3 tests to play. Time's running out. What do you expect to do now?
Time's running out, but as I've said in just about every press conference, so I've got a very healthy respect. So, there's a few players a little bit out of sorts, and they could hit their straps, and obviously it's going to be a tougher game of cricket if we go slightly off the boil. So, our job now is to make sure that our cricket is full on. We play the way we've been playing, and if we do that, we're going to be very hard to beat.
You haven't made a big innings yourself yet. You're disappointed about
that? I was disappointed at Lords because the wicket was excellent, and I was hitting the ball very, very well, and then got out to a bit of a silly shot. So, in the first innings in particular, so I was disappointed I didn't go on there in particular. But here it's just one of those things, Found another way of getting out. All right, gents?
Okay, thank you. Ian, before this comeback test, just how keyed up, apprehensive were you?
Well, not apprehensive. I was very frustrated to miss the first 2 tests, particularly against Australia. And just pleased to be back in the fold.
Wasn't the danger, though, that perhaps the public might have expected too much of you? Miracle worker time and all that again?
Well, I thought there was half a chance yesterday afternoon. And I'm still not quite sure I missed that ball that I missed, but that's the way it goes. No, I'm very pleased, really, with the way the game went all around, from my own point of view, yeah.
How nervous were you before you went out to bat?
I don't think I was nervous. Keyed up, wanting to do well, but tight in the stomach, but more through wanting to go out and succeed rather than nerves, I think.
Everybody kept referring, though, to 81 before this game, the Australian, same opponents. Does that not sort of put a bit of a burden on you?
No, I think it's quite a nice position to be in. I think there's a lot of people who'd like to be in that position.
What's your view of the morale of the England side now? You've been out of it for 2 test matches. You've been watching them lose at Lords and Headingley.
Well, I think we've got ourselves out of a hole that we dug in this game through the first innings batting, and luckily we managed to avoid the follow-on. And hopefully that'll be the turning point in the series, because psychologically, we got over that hurdle, which I think lifted everyone a lot. Admittedly, it was a position that we got ourselves into, but we've got over it. So let's just hope now that we can build from there, and we've just got to believe in ourselves and go out there and be positive. I think that's, even in defence you can be positive.
How do you make people believe in themselves, though, when they're out of form and the opposition are bowling well and a few people are on the backs?
Occupation of the crease is what Test cricket's all about, and I think that if you go out there and you can get over the first half hour, because the first half hour when you go in any game is the toughest. I think there's been too many of us getting 20s, 30s and 40s and getting out. And the difference between the two sides is that when their players have got it in, they've gone on and got runs. That's what we've got to do.
How does this Australian side compare with other ones that you've come up against?
I've always said the same about the Australian sides. It doesn't matter what 12 players are in the team that's picked on the morning, and the final 11 that go out for any Australian side are going to give you a bloody good game. And the one thing you've got to do with the Australians is get on top of them. And unfortunately, we haven't done that yet in this series. But I'm sure that if we keep trying, then, if you like, the wheel of fortune will change.
They're batting well, aren't they?
They're batting well, but they're having a bit of luck. I mean, Dean Jones got 150 odd, but he could have been out for 4, caught a slip. It just went wide of him. Little things like that. Well, it's the difference is that when we're nicking it seems to be going somewhere. At the moment when they're nicking it's not. But if you keep plugging away, then you make things happen. And once things start to go for you, and you keep thinking positively, then you can turn the tide. It's nothing, as the old saying goes, nothing's impossible.
Is it like the last Ashes series when Mike Gatting's side were hailed as the greatest ever eventually and the Australians were just written off? Is it as simple as black and white things like that?
No, I mean, there's a lot more to cricket than that. I mean, all kinds of things go into the game. The odd LBW decision, the odd caught behind, when you think you've got a player out and the umpire disagrees. You've got to accept that and get on with it. But at the moment, the rub of the green's just going a little bit the Australian way, I feel. Or certainly, just watching the first 2 tests and playing in this one. And we have got to make things happen. They won't happen on their own. And if you keep on being positive and have the right attitude, it'll happen.
Just how disappointed were you when you got out there? You'd done the hard work, hadn't you?
Well, I still haven't worked out. I missed it. I was too tired to watch the highlights last night. I had an early night. So I probably won't see it for a long time. And that's probably a good thing anyway.
What's your form like with the bat now? You keep getting these 40s.
Well, I suppose it's better to keep you on getting 40s than noughts, which I was doing at the start of the year. No, it's coming. I'm feeling good. It's all a little bit strange to me underneath that helmet with the visor, but I've got to get used to that because the last thing I need now is another blow in the face, because that would, even a minor blow now would have serious repercussions.
So the message is for England that they're only halfway through the series?
Of course. I mean, there's 3 games to go. Cricket's a funny game. Anything can happen.
There we go, Pat Murphy. Well, you stopped the rot.
Well, yes, I suppose you've got to say that in terms of some sort of result, this is the best we've had in the series so far. And in that sense, if we have finally stopped the rot, then I'll be very happy. We've now got a couple of weeks off before the next one really looms on the horizon, which I suppose gives us time for any injuries that we had, or injured people, injured persons that we'd like to see back again, for them to recover, perhaps play some cricket even, and so get some runs and wickets, that sort of thing, and be, shall we say, picking from a full-strength squad.
Yes, you will be well aware that lots of people are going to say, sack a lot of them, out with the old guard, in with the new.
Yes, I mean, again, we try and resist that as best we can. We try and sort of remain rational to our, to our own way of thinking. And it's all very well. I mean, as ever, it's a point I suppose has to be remade and made again.
Getting back to the old guard, new guard. I'd play Mickey Stewart every time.
Yes, we'll try and remain as rational as we can about the whole thing. It's all very well saying, sack everyone and start afresh, but some of the names I've seen bandied about of sort of the young, up-and-coming talent haven't exactly been sort of smacking it all around the park in county cricket this year either. And you've got to look for class, and judge obviously when class is at its best right to be picked. But I mean, the answer is that we have players that are genuine quality players. Where, as a side, should we say, slightly short of confidence at the moment, we need just to string those days together. We need to get the confidence right, I suppose, first, but it needs to be one of those sort of chicken and egg situations. So, I don't anticipate, again, wholesale changes. It's far too easy.
What has Ian Botham done for the confidence of the squad?
Well, Ian's brought his own sort of zip back to the dressing room again. He has always been as confident, really, as anyone I've seen in a cricket dressing room or on a cricket field, in his own ability especially. And it's always nice to have him in a dressing room to just ooze confidence. Obviously, he's got to work and concentrate like the rest of us when it comes to playing. He did us proud with the bat in what was the only innings we actually had to play in this game. And obviously saw us through most of a sticky patch there. And bowled very tiredly for most of the time he was asked to bowl, so no real complaints there.
David, where does common sense and the refusal to panic end and complacency begin? Because your detractors will say, well, they're just taking the easy options, staying with the familiar faces.
Well, it's a question of actually backing people. Obviously, at some stage, you need that backing to be, should we say, repaid with performances. And, I'm still confident that the people that we sort of first thought of, shall we say, are capable of producing those performances. Obviously, I suppose there does come a day when you have to take stock finally and say, well, OK, we've shown you all the confidence we can. Perhaps we do need a change. That's happened over the years, over the centuries, to plenty of people. But I don't want to be rushed into it or forced into it just for the sake of it.
Charlie Pickering. I'm just setting up my new ABC account. By providing some personal information, they'll make sure that I get more of what I love based on what I watch, read and listen to. They'll ensure that any information I do provide is kept safe and secure. Soon you'll need an account to stream shows on ABC iView, but if you like, you can also use it for other ABC apps and websites. No, you can't see my watch list.
For more information on what an ABC account has to offer, head to abc.net.au/ABC account. ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of basketball.
Hello, I'm Ned Hall, and coming up now, highlights of the fourth test of the 1989 Ashes series, taking place in late July and early August at Old Trafford in Manchester. Player of the match for this one was Jeff Lawson, with some superb bowling through the course of the test match that ended up in another big win for Australia and meant that they claimed the Ashes. A 6-test series, but it ended up being a big win for Australia as part of an excellent series for them. The fourth test of the 1989 Ashes series being played at Old Trafford.
Looks reflectively at Lawson, sees him turn. Picks up his bat and awaits the arrival of the bowler. Here's Lawson now. And there's an appeal for his bowled him. Bowled him off his pads. And there was Gooch groping for that. England have lost their first wicket. Gooch bowled Lawson 11, and England are 23 for 1.
First ball, the next over brings an appeal, and he's out this time. Robinson out on the back foot. Lawson gets his second wicket. As he went back down the line of the off stump, possibly the ball kept a little bit low. Certainly Barry Mayer, the umpire, decided that it was going to hit the stumps. And Robinson is on his way after 15 scoreless minutes. 23 for 2. Well, Fred, I said something had to give. Either it was going to be 4 runs or it was going to be a wicket. And unfortunately for England, it's a very important wicket. But Curtis seemed last year against the West Indies, and seems again now to me just to be slightly crooked with the bat when he comes down in it with off the back foot. But he's fighting doggedly. 22 not out, facing Lawson now. Bowls to him, well pitched up. Bowls him off stump, but I should think that went the other way and left him a little bit. He was just pushing forward rather speculatively at it. A very fine delivery from Jeff Lawson, who has now taken all three wickets. 3 for 21 to Lawson. Curtis bowled Lawson 22. England 57 for 3, and a most disappointing setback. 162 test wickets now to Lawson as he runs in from this Stretford end. There's a slower ball, and Smith savagely square cuts it for 4. It is so good to see a batsman who recognises a bad ball and gives it the full treatment. And when a ball is hit off the middle of Robin Smith's bat, it certainly stays hit. Takes him to 28.
Lawson sprints in quickly to the wicket and bowls to Gower again. And Gower cuts a lovely looking shot that just goes under Hughes' hand and out to the point boundary for 4. Hughes dived, but that ball was going like a tracer bullet past him. And even though he was probably only inches from it as it went past, it was going like a bullet, as I said, and easily made the boundary for 4. Delightful shot by David Gower to finish the over. And the scoreboard looks like this. Gower is 17. Robin Smith is 39. And England now 89 for 3 after 43 overs. As Wall comes in and bowls for Robin Smith again, and he gets one pitched on line with the leg stump. Boone's got to chase out through mid-wicket. I think he could just about get to this inside the boundary. He will, but of course Robin Smith in the meantime is helping himself to the runs that will bring up his half-century. So that's very well batted at a time when England really looked like plummeting once again to despair. Robin Smith goes to 51. England 3 for 102. So both his half-century and England's 100 come up with the same scoring stroke. So well done, Robin Smith.
Holmes from Queensland comes in from the Warwick Road end, bowls to Gower. Appeal for LBW, he's out. Gower can't believe it. He'd gone to pull the ball through mid-wicket. I think he slightly misjudged the length of the ball there. And a triumph for Trevor Holmes and for his art of leg spin. Gower is out. LBW to Holmes for 34, and that England are now 132 for 4, a vital wicket at a vital time. I beg your pardon, he made 35. Holmes with a slip, a silly mid-off, and a forward short leg. Bowls again to Botham. Quicker one. Botham is bowled. He went for a big hit over the onside, and that was a rash stroke if ever I saw one. It was a flattish delivery. It really wasn't even there for such a shot. And Botham has handed Australia a badly needed wicket just before tea on a plate there, and he will be thoroughly ashamed of that shot. 140 for 5, and those 2 wickets have put Australia right back on top.
So up goes Lawson, bowls the left-handed Russell. Russell is hit on the pad there, and he's out. That ominous round arm action of umpire Hampshire, who brings his right arm round, V bowling round arm, points to the sky, and Russell is out. LBW to give Lawson his 4th wicket, and England now 147 for 6, having won the toss here on this pitch, which I don't think they can blame, and they walk back. Russell walks back looking a little sad.
Holmes to Embury. There's a big ring, and it's out LBW. Big hike to mid-wicket, missed it completely, and Holmes has now taken 3 wickets, and England in dire disaster at 158 for 7.
Well, we've got Holmes running in now to bowl to Foster. And Foster drives that one, and that's gone high up to the far end of the ground, and it is a 6. Up to that side screen at the far end of the ground, a finely timed stroke. He kept his head down, he hit it straight, and he gets 6 runs. Well done, Foster. And that's cheered the crowd up a lot, cheered everybody up. If he'd got out, I suppose we said what a terrible stroke to have tried. 190 for 7. Alderman runs up, and he bowls to Smith. And Smith off the back foot, forces one way. This is the 100. It's going through to extra cover. Lawson giving chase. They've run 2. He got the 100. He gets for 4. And he's now made 102 not out. Well done, Robin Smith.
And that final scoreline, England 224 for 7. Robin Smith is on 112 and Neil Foster on 36. It's 7 for 224. So the Australians just letting this slip. I know that they'd dearly like to pick up these last 3 England wickets in the first hour or so of play this morning. There's no sign of that, with both Robin Smith and Neil Foster batting very sensibly indeed. As Lawson runs to the wicket again, he's with Foster now, and Foster this time drives in the air, and that should be out. Yes. Caught by Alan Border, I think it is, on second attempt. The drive was lofted out into the offside, and the first attempt unsuccessful, but as the ball spilt from hand, the dive was successful on the way to the ground, and so Foster is out for 39, England 8 for 232.
A very sensible Fraser leaves it alone. I think you'll find him, he's been well brought up by Don Wilson, Fred, and he plays straight. 3 slips in the gully waiting as Lawson comes in, bowls to him. That one he's hit higher than the pad, and he's given out. He's out. Got him front there, and he's out. LBW to Lawson to give Lawson now his 6th wicket, and England are 252 for 9. I spoke a bit too soon for him. He's out. Up comes Hughes, bowls this one, and that is outside the off-stump and cut down high down to third man, and it's caught down there. There's a tremendous catch. It was a high cut and caught. I think it's Holmes in it down there, and it was caught as he fell over. And so that's the end of the England innings. He was going for it then. I suppose there's a Cook here he had to, and it was caught. Holmes down a deep third man, an unusual shot, so you can imagine, going for a cut. And he's out, and it gives Hughes his wicket, and he's out for 143, Robin Smith. England are all out for 260.
Cook from the city end bowls to the left-handed Taylor, who makes room for himself and plays this away through the covers almost savagely. Here it goes. Smith, Robin Smith in pursuit. They've taken one, they've taken two, and that's 50 for Mark Taylor. 83 without loss, the Australian total, replying to England's 260. And well done, Mark Taylor, who was having a singularly successful Test series in this country.
Away goes Foster, starts a new over, and the first ball is driven straight back up the ground. There's a little bit of work for Embury, who sprints off after it. We might start him in the 340 at Goodwood. He's going to pull it up just inside the boundary. Or did he? He did not. I thought he had that. He certainly worked hard enough. And that's the 100 on the board for the Australians. A very satisfactory situation as far as I'm concerned. 100 without loss. And Mark Taylor, the scoreboard, just ticking up to show that his contribution to that is 61. Marsh, 35. Australia, 0 for 100.
Botham applies some perspiration from his forehead to the ball, touches the medallion around his neck, rubs the ball vigorously, trying to keep the shine on it, looks up towards our commentary position here and turns and runs in with a straight, rather laboured approach, with a nice leap at the end, and then a bad ball down. A brilliant bit of stumping. He's caught behind by Russell, who took the bails off. Very, very quick bit of work. Whether which he was feeling for, I don't know, but no doubt both. And the verdict is that he is caught. Botham does the trick, albeit in a rather unexpected way, and Australia have lost their first wicket after outstanding opening partnership of 135. Marsh caught behind for 47.
Emery bowls. Taylor is over, and he's stumped. Beaten as the ball turned from the bowler's rough outside the left-hander's off stump. The eternal problem of the left-handed batsman, and Taylor, fearfully disappointed at not making another century, departs for 85. Australia, 143 for 2.
Two slips, third man, gully a little bit deep, cover, this short, silly mid-off really, and there's no one behind. So there's a nice drive. If there's an over-pitched ball on the offside, then Boone will be able to score. But this one is short, and he can't win the game. Bowled him! No stroke, he lifted his bat up, and it bowled him. So Fraser has now got a wicket, and Australia have lost one. So 154 for 3, and Boone is bowled, Fraser for 12. Now that was not unlike perhaps the ball that he got up at Birmingham when he got War, very close to the off stump and nipped in. This Boone certainly wasn't going to play at it.
Cook bowls down the leg side, and this is hoisted high, wide, and handsome over long on for 6 runs. And Jones doesn't hang about, he doesn't waste any time. He knows that Cook has not a great deal of chance of imparting a lot of spin to the ball. He met that full on the half volley and picked it up exactly at the right moment. Over the top of long on it went. Jones has reached 46, the total 213 for 3.
So the last delivery of the day's play. Australia in a very sound position here. As Cook comes in and bowls to Jones, and Jones plays in defence away on the onside and starts to walk off towards the pavilion. The day's play has finished. At stumps, Jones is 49, Border is 19, Australia 3 for 219.
Well, it's going to be Nick Cook bowling over the wicket, left arm, slow, and he's bowling to Jones, who's on 49. He comes in now from Warwick Road end and bowls, and he gets one there as he goes up to mid-off, and they're scrambling stop there by Gooch, but that is the 50 for Dean Jones. Well played, Jones, and the score goes up to 224 for 3. Always a delight to watch. I would think that some bowlers would like bowling to him because there you can enjoy good strokes even off your own bowling, but you always, I think, have a tiny bit of a chance. He's always taking risks.
Now it's Foster to start a new over. He bowls to Border, who drives out through the covers. A bit of pace may be taken off that by Curtis at cover, but it won't stop its race towards the boundary. And it bounces over the rope now for 4. So he's halfway to that total that I was talking about. Border goes up to 52, and Australia 274 for 3.
You had tea in the Worcester ladies' enclosure at Worcester, Robin? No. Famous for their teas, and she sent us a very nice fruit cake. Roy Brooke, whose wife runs it, I think. And this is outside of the goes out, clean bowl. And clean bowl there by Botham. Head in there, trying to goodness knows what. And Jones is out. Bowled by Botham. And the score now is 274 for 4. He's out for 69.
He's the in-swinger.
Yeah.
He's bowled a lot of outswingers to the right-hander this morning. And he's run up and bowled the perfect in-swinger, starting just outside the line of the off-stump and bowling out Dean Jones.
This one now, outside the off-stump and cut square on the offside. It may not get there, yes it will. It's running away towards the pavilion now, against the boards. Robin Smith hadn't got a chance of catching that up. And it's his 50, so loud applause for Robin Smith for fielding that, and also to Steve Waugh for his 50. 355 for 4. Yeah, it's Foster again, bowls to Border, and Border fixes that, but he's got behind! A good catch there by Russell, falling down in front of Gooch at first slip, and Border has caught Russell. Bill Foster, I said he wanted a wicket, he's got it, and Australia now have lost 5 wickets for 362, and Border, after a long innings, but what a valuable one for Australia, walks back out for 80. Caught Russell, Bill Foster. And now we've got Dennis's boy in now, Healy, the wicketkeeper, who's proved himself a very adequate batsman. And it's Foster bowling to him with 2 slips, and the crowd roaring him in on. In he comes, that one, and hits on the bat, he's out! OBW! Foster on a hat-trick at the end of that over, and the team surrounding him, tapping him on the back. Haven't seen anyone kiss him yet, it'll probably happen in a minute. He's out, first ball, Paul Healy, out for North, LBW. 1 ball from Nick Cook, bowling over the wicket to Holmes. And that one is caught by Gar. Caught at silly point. He pushed forward to it. Gar, I think, clasped it to his navel as he fell over backwards. But that's a wicket. I've been getting a few wickets today. And Holmes has caught Gar, bowled Cook, and he's out for 17. And Australia are 413 for 7. Anyhow, here's Cook again. Bowling to use a faster one, and he bowled him. He tried to do it again, and he bowled him a quicker one, bowled him a leg stump there. Good bit of bowling by Cook, he thought he'd probably tried. Why he wanted to play like that, he can play perfectly respectfully. Anyhow, he is out. He was bowled by Cook to give Cook his 2nd wicket, and the score now is 423 for 8. Hughes bowled Cook for 3. Up comes this one now from Fraser. He's hooked that down, and it's gone over mid-wicket. And a marvellous catch there by Curtis at mid-wicket. It looked to be gone over his head. He flung himself up in the air. Now that could be a champagne moment, because that was a tremendous catch. And Fraser has got him out again. Paul Waugh going out for 92. Caught Curtis, bowled Fraser for 92, and Australia are 423 for 9. And the man, he fell over backwards and then did a backwards somersault. For me, so far, that's the champion's moment of the game.
The umpires say, that is it, gentlemen. The stumps come out of the grounds, and that is the end of the 3rd over of this day, of this test match. 441 for 9, a very entertaining last session. In other words, Australia lead by 181 runs.
As Fraser comes in and bowls to Lewis, he's bowled. The last Australian wicket has fallen. Lawson bowled Fraser 17. Australia all out 447. So that lead is 187 runs. A very tidy situation for the Australians. I suppose they would have liked to have batted on for a little while longer this morning. They started the day at 441 for 9. All out 447. Lawson, the last man out. Clean bowled by Angus Fraser for 17. Alderman not out 6. Australia all out 447 as the players go back to the dressing room for the change of innings. Alderman bowls to Curtis again, and Curtis has caught. Curtis played lazily across the line of that. It's dollied from bat to short leg. Boone takes the catch. England 10 for 1. Curtis I wonder what is going through his mind as he walks off. It was a very lazy shot, and it's cost him his wicket and put England on the slide. 10 for 1.
Away goes the tall Jeff Lawson again, bowling in a sleeveless Australian sweater. Past umpire Mayer, he bowls. Oh, good delivery, appeals for LBW, he's out. He was on the back foot, he came back a fraction, and in the opinion of umpire Barry Mayer, that would have knocked out, I should think, middle and off. Good delivery, and Robinson, I was saying that he likes to go on the back foot, rather as in the first innings, he was sort of half leaning forward, then went back. Ball hit him, in fact, on the front pad, but it was right back on the popping crease. And he's out, LBW, for 12. There's Alderman on his way again, bowls to Smith, and down the leg side, Smith leg glances, they appeal, and he is given out. Well, one can only assume that he got a thin edge on that, and if ever there was a soft dismissal, that was it. It was a concerted appeal by the Australians. It was a ball of full length outside the leg stump. Smith went to leg glance. It either hit bat and pad or just pad. Smith is out. England are in desperate trouble at 27 for 3.
Gar, this end and the other end, it is Gooch waiting as Lawson bowls to him. And this one he edges, and he's caught in the slips. He's caught by Alderman at first slip, just dabbing at that one outside the off stump. And England's really tragedy is complete. They've now lost 4 wickets, 28 runs. And this is absolute disaster. And what a change. When we saw the Australian batsmen batting, it all looked very easy. It's looked terribly difficult for England. 28 for 4. They were 187 runs behind, so they are still 150 odd or 160 odd runs behind.
Alderman comes in and bowls to Botham again, and Botham taken on the pad. There's an appeal for LBW, and he's given out. That is the critical breakthrough for the Australians. Botham, LBW, Alderman for 4. England 38 for 5. So dangerous is Alderman, of course, that I was just thinking to myself that Botham was playing a non-Botham type game. He was just trying to stay and stay, and Alderman took him on the pad again. And John Hampshire really didn't have any hesitation at all. Up came the hand, and that is a critical breakthrough for the Australians.
Yeah.
And what a sad morning this has been for England cricket.
Lawson bowls, and that's played wide of Border's left hand. It's silly mid-off, and there's a long gallop for Merv Hughes from cover, cheered on by the crowd. That's the 50 up. 3 to Russell. He moves up to 6. England reach 52 for 5, and it's not so much hysterical as ironic applause which spatters around the ground.
Seeing Lawson now running in from the Stretford end, bowling from over the wicket to Gar, who gives us the full treatment. He's caught in the gully, very well caught by Marsh. He hit it off the back foot hard, but in the air, and all those close fielders, and it was Marsh who gobbled it up, one of the 2 gully fielders. So another triumph for Alan Border's field placings. More chagrin for the England captain. And England are sinking to gloomier and gloomier depths of despair. 59 for 6.
The umpires confer about the weather, or the light.
Light, I think it is.
They're being offered the light, and they immediately take it. And Alan Border is going to have a chat to the umpire, and he's saying, look at the light meters. And Alan Border is none too happy by the look of him as he makes his way off.
For the moment, with no further play taking place here at Headingley, another sombre day for England, but let's not labour the point. England 123 for 6 in their second innings. If play is possible tomorrow, and for the sake of the game, one hopes it is, then Australia must, unless a miracle happens, if play is possible for England to save the game. Wall bowls, and this is cracked away handsomely by Russell. Backward of square on the offside. They've taken 1, they've taken 2. Russell says no more, that will do. That's the 100 partnership. It's now 68 to Russell, and 160 for 6 to England total.
Border comes up and bowls to Embry. Embry goes for the sweep this time, and he's hit. Everybody always laughs, but it hit poor Barry Mayer at square leg. They go through for a single, and it is the 50 for Embry. So Embry goes to 50, 180 for 6. Ironical that in the day it's the nicest game to South Africa that he's playing here so well for England.
As Holmes comes in and bowls to Embury, and Embury lofts this in the air, straight up the ground for 4, and that's a first innings lead to England. Rather, they'll force the Australians to bat again, I should be saying, and they go to 189 for 6, and so they're 2 runs on. 2 lofted drives by Embury in this over, bringing about that situation. 189 for 6, Australia will need to bat again.
Alderman bowls to Embury. Bill bowled, and that was the kiss of death. No record, an equaling of the record, but the end of John Embury, bowled by Alderman, as that ball just came back in between bat and pad. He got an inside edge and helped it onto his stumps. He was on the back foot, and Terry Alderman has done the trick, much to the extreme relief of Australia. 201 for 7 England. Embury bowled Alderman 64, and although there's only a small crowd here at Old Trafford, they are standing to him, and you can hear that even a small crowd thinks an awful lot of John Embury, who's just played, in all probability, his last Test innings for England.
Up comes Alderman again to bowl to Foster. Foster is bowled. Trying, no doubt, to drive that one, and it's just shaved the off stump, and Foster walks back, and he's bowled by Alderman. Alderman now has 5 wickets in this, so it takes him to 27 in the series. England now 223 for 8.
Now Alderman from the Warwick Road end bowls to Russell, and Russell gets his century here. He's worked it off the pads, down towards fine leg, takes the single and starts a lap of honour. My word, that's well batted, Jack Russell. He came in when England were in dire straits, and he's taken 100 himself, and Alan Border walks over and shakes him warmly by the hand. So a very nice note there from Alan Border, and very well batted Jack Russell. 100 not out, England 229 for 8.
Trevor Holmes carrying the torch for the art of leg spin in Test cricket as he comes in from the Warwick Road end. There was a flipper, was it? A big appeal, and he's given out LBW. A long thought there from John Hampshire, the umpire, before, after, an agonising wait there for Angus Fraser. He lifted his right index finger high above his head and gave Holmes the wicket which may decide this match. 255 for 9 it is. There are 38 overs minimum to go. And Fraser is out. LBW to Holmes for 3.
Hughes bowls, and Cook waves his bat, is caught behind. That's the end of the England innings at 264. So, am I right in believing now, William, that tea will be taken?
I'm sure you are, yes. And there
10
will
minutes
be
to tea, yes.
2 overs deducted for the overs between the innings. So there'll be 12 overs minimum before 5 o'clock, and then the 20 for them to score 75, is it? 78.
Australia needs 78 to win, but for the moment, just listen to the applause for Jack Russell, 128 not out.
Now Embury comes in and bowls to Marsh again, who sweeps this ball away in the air, and he's out. He lofted the ball behind square, and waiting very patiently for it back there was Cook, was it? Tim Robinson, rather, and Australia lose their first wicket. 62 runs on the board. Marsh out, caught by Tim Robinson for 31. Australia 62 for 1. They need 16 runs for victory, and I'm sure they were anticipating doing that with all wickets intact. Geoffrey Marsh has done his part, though. He trudges from the ground. I'm sure he would have loved to have hit the winning run. Marsh is out. Australia 1 for 62. And as Taylor drives away on the offside, and that's his 500th run for the series. The misfield didn't really matter. He took 1. And so Mark Taylor goes up to 35. And I just want to run through the scores that he's had. 136, 60, 62, 27, 43, 51, 85, and now 36 not out. So 500 test runs in the series to Mark Taylor. And he surely has been one of the keys to Australia's terrific run in these test matches. Cook bowls to Boone again, and Boone does have a go, and he hits the winning run. It's going out for 4. It just reaches the boundary now. Australia have taken the test and they've taken the Ashes. The Australian players looking to get some souvenirs out in the middle. There are handshakes all round. The England players congratulating the Australians who have won the 4th test match here. They lead in the series 3-0. They've taken the Ashes, and that's something that no Australian team has done in England since 1934. A marvellous moment for the Australian team. The players are out on the balcony now enjoying the moment. I bet there's nobody prouder than Alan Border, who has captained the side through some pretty grim times, and now he stands proudly here at Old Trafford as they take the Ashes. Australia 81 for 1 have won the test match by 9 wickets, and it really has capped off what has been a wonderful series of test matches for them on this trip so far.
Talking about golf, technology has come to golf coverage in a way that is spectacular. It just has livened up the coverage so much. You can now get a swing speed through digital, say 122 miles per hour.
That's
swing
the maximum speed.
That's the club head, right? And then you get ball speed, which might be up to 170 miles per hour. Miles per hour. That's incredible. And then it'll estimate the distance that this ball is going to go. Let's say 224 yards. So we've got miles and yards. So it's up to people at home to do their quick calculations and convert into metric.
Kilometres and metres.
Kilometres and metres, yeah, which is a fun thing to do and great for all the fam.
Can I ask, is that sort of information available online, a two-screen coverage?
No. Look, I've only seen the standard coverage on Channel 9, which starts late, usually about 11:30, and you're about 3 hours into the match.
And how accurate are those results?
I can't help you.
No,
I
that
can't
would be
help you.
fantastic.
Look, they give the impression that it is definitive.
What happens if the ball bounces, say, on a bit of a slope?
Yeah, I know. I don't know if that's factored in to the projection of distance. I don't know.
I'm going to watch it now. I had no idea this was going on.
This
is a
is
revolution in golf
It is a revolution.
coverage, and I'm not aware of
And
it.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, good.
Now, Vale, Sevi, Ballas, Diros. And can I just say, Sevi, thank you for the memories. And what a golden period it was. We were just lucky, actually. We were lucky to live when we did. To see Sevi, Ballas, Diros and Jose Moreno together. Because they're once-in-a-lifetime players thrown up. And there they were together, the two Spaniards, the two big Spaniards. I mean, they were like a colossus. They were a giant. And we saw them both at the same time. How lucky were we?
People talk about Sam Snead and...
they do. And can I just say, Sam Snead, I mean, Jose Moreno wouldn't wipe his ass with Sam Snead. He wouldn't. No, he wouldn't bother. No, he wouldn't. That's how good he was, and that's how classy he was. Yeah. Sevi Dios, the same.
Likewise.
Just a trouble. And can I just say, gentleman? Always the gentleman.
Unbelievable. Golfer, gentleman,
and gentleman.
In that order. Incredible.
And what he could do with the ball, there was nothing he couldn't do with the ball. He didn't rely on yard charts and
he just looked
and built it. Exactly. And he could get the ball to spin, slice, you name it. He could do any manner of tricks with the ball. I mean, people are impressed with Tiger Woods being able to, with a putter, bounce a ball on the putter's face.
Hour after hour.
I mean, Sevi was doing that years ago. Sevi went for 3 weeks.
Without dropping
the ball.
I know. He could bounce a ball off a ball.
He could bounce a ball off a ball. I've often said that about Sevi Dios. And the old maestro's putting the feet up. And I say good on him. Thanks for the memories.
Is he going into course design?
Oh, yes, he is.
Yeah, good.
He's designing some courses in Madrid, I believe.
Right.
And in other areas of Spain that is earmarked for the Ballas Dios touch.
One of Shark's kids had a fling. I was going to say one of Shark's...
Was Sevi Ballas Dios' daughter? Well, I wouldn't put it past him. He's still a very attractive man.
And fit, right?
And fit as buggery.
Yeah.
I can imagine many a young girl, having Sevi as a pin-up.
Oh, yeah, especially if you were golf connected.
Wouldn't that be a match made in heaven? Sevi, I don't know a name. Let's say her name's Jane. Sergio and Jane. Good on them.
You imagine their kids would have some sort of step up in the golfing caper?
Wouldn't they ever?
Clubhead speed?
Clubhead speed. Be unbelievable.
The Best of Grandstand podcasts are on offer right now. Dive deep behind the scenes of world sport with shows like the Phil Davis podcast. Listen to the Outer Sanctum team talk footy, but not as you've heard it before. Or pick through the burning issues of the A-League, W-League, Socceroos and Matildas with the Grandstand Football Pod. Visit ABC Sport Online, wherever you get your favourite podcasts, and the ABC Listen app. ABC Sport. ABC Sport.
Hello, I'm Ned Hall, and coming up now, highlights of the 5th test of the 1989 Ashes series, played in the middle of August. This one was played at Trent Bridge, and with the series already in the bag, Australia didn't take their foot off the gas. England made a couple of changes and some well-known names coming in to the starting side, with Michael Atherton and Devon Malcolm both making their test debuts. Mark Taylor was in superb form in this match as Australia batted first in the match and completed a resounding win by over an innings. So then, the 5th test of the 1989 Ashes series played at Trent Bridge.
Here comes Malcolm, starting a new over from the Radcliffe Road end. He's in, he bowls, and Taylor comes forward, pushes this sort of push drive. It goes through the mid-off gap. They go for 1. They come back for 2. Hemmings is after it, and that is Taylor's 50. Well, another fine innings, and what a prodigious record he's had in this series. And when, in a few moments, Bill will no doubt tell me exactly what his figures are. But he scored an awful lot of runs, and the score, it's brought up the 100 at the same time. So he's got exactly half the runs that have been scored.
Fraser starts a new over. He bowls to Marsh, and Marsh up on tiptoe, clips that wide of point. Now, will this go down to the boundary? They've run 1. They come back for the second, and does it arrive at the rope? It does. Marsh gets his 50. It's his first 50 in this particular series, and I know that inwardly he is going to be delighted. He signals to the dressing room. I've just watched him train in recent weeks, and he's had the head down, wondering where that big score would come from. Well, 50 might be the start of that. He's a determined player, and I must say that I share his relief and joy at getting that 50. He lopes into the wicket and bowls to Marsh again, and Marsh deflects that beautifully, glanced down towards fine leg. Cook should get to this, or will he? I thought he would, but that shot is well placed and well played. So that's the 150 on the board for Australia, 151 without loss. And Jeff Marsh, with that 4, joins Mark Taylor, both of them on 61. And it's 151 without loss, 29 extras included. And that was a lovely glance. Lovely shot by Marsh, square drive. It'll go to backward point, but nonetheless to the boundary. And that's 4. And what a marvellous tonic. This 50 is for Jeff Marsh, who now goes to 65. Taylor 61, 155 without loss. I suppose I also should hasten to add to that the fact that Marsh is currently taking the lion's share of the strike, but gee, it's as though somebody's taken the chains off, the handcuffs off.
And it is Malcolm returning from the Radcliffe Road end with 2 slips and a gully and a leg slip. He bowls outside the off stump and is firmly cracked for 4 by Marsh off the back foot. A square cut hit in front of square by Taylor, 4 lovely runs by this remarkably consistent left-hander Mark Taylor, who's had such a wonderful tour. He goes to 74, the total to 176 for no wicket. In comes Malcolm and bowls to Taylor, who fairly laces this to the wide mid-on boundary, between mid-wicket and mid-on, up towards the scoreboard. That was a tremendous shot from a ball not, in fact, all that short from Malcolm, but short enough, and he got in behind it and helped it from outside off stump. Tremendously well-timed stroke. Mark Taylor, one of the great heroes of this summer, is 80 not out of 185 for no wicket.
That one was googly slightly. It was short outside the off stump, and it goes for 4. Well, I say it goes for 4. In fact, it doesn't. A good running save there as it went down there. Cook chased it up there, and he saved 1 run. So they got 3. So the 200 is up for this opening partnership. Congratulations both to Marsh and Taylor. Impeccable, really, they've been. Absolute ideal start for any test side. 80, and they kept going pretty level. Taylor went ahead a long time, and then Marsh caught him up. Now Taylor's 90, and Marsh is 80. And it's the right-handed Marsh to face up to this leg spin again. Up it comes, and that one is on the middle leg, turned round the corner. Just the 1 run. Russell goes to collect it, but Nick Cook comes in.
Well, they've now equalled the highest Australian first wicket partnership in England by Laurie and Simpson at Old Trafford in 1964. There's only been 1 higher one by Australia against England anywhere. That was by the same pair at Adelaide in 65-6, which I suspect you saw.
Hemmings runs into a slight angle. He's running in between the umpire and the stumps, bowling round the wicket to the left hand, and tosses that up well outside the off stump, and that's hit away for 4. It's going over the ropes now at deep cover. It was well wide outside the off stump, and Taylor does hit it extremely well. He's now up to 96. And how many fours did he hit, Bearders?
That was his 8th, and he's now got 597 runs in this series.
So if he gets 100, he is in the 600 range.
Atherton starts a new over, and he's cracked away out through the onside field. Taylor takes one. He's going to come back for the second. That should be pulled up by Fraser just inside the boundary, and it'll be 3. And that's it. Mark Taylor gets his century, and I think he's going to do a lap of honour. He's waving to the dressing room, and what a summer he's had. Mark Taylor, 100, Australia 218 without loss. So a personal milestone for Taylor. I think he reaches 600 runs for the series. Australia continue their record-breaking first wicket stand here, 218 without loss. And Mark Taylor really has thoroughly earned the applause that he gets from this large crowd here.
Hemmings, full of the joys of spring, comes in again. Guy's also at short mid-wicket. 4 men round bat. He bowls. Marsh turns this away, and they go for the quick single. They've got it. Marsh has got his 100. He turned it past Curtis at short leg, who got a hand to it, and Fraser completed the fielding. Marsh overruns the stumps by 20 yards and waves his bat in acknowledgement to, I dare say, to the Australian dressing room, and then into the stand over there to the left, which may well be, I suppose, to his wife, who could. And they've also equalled the record opening partnership for Australia against England, which I was telling you about a moment or two ago, set by Bill Lawrie and Bobby Simpson in 65-66 at the Adelaide Oval, and the record 244. Hemmings in, gives this down, it's swept away by Taylor, and that's the record. That's going away to square leg, bouncing over the ropes for 4.
Hemmings bowls to Taylor, and Taylor cuts. There'll be runs here. Will that be 4 for the 300? It will be. So I thought Taylor might have put down the shutters, but this great day for Australia continues as they bring up the 300. Australia 301 without loss. A marvellous moment. The batsmen just shaking each other by the hand. I'm sure they intended to bat through the day. 300 a bonus. Taylor 141, Marsh 125. Australia 301 without loss. And they've just about broken every record in the books.
Taylor stands pretty still. He pats away at the popping crease, but his bat is down on it now as he waits for this one. Turns this with a flick of the wrist down to third, to long leg, and it's his 50. Well played, 150. Taylor, 323 for North, and I can't see anything to stop him at the moment.
And they have now equalled the record first wicket partnership by either England or Australia in this long series that was now jointly held by Sir Jack Hobbs and Wilfred Rhodes at Melbourne in 1911-12.
Runs in again now between the umpire and the stumps. That's the flatter one outside the leg stump and turn round the corner. Goes down to long leg, and it's Malcolm running round. It's quite a long round to get it, and he's only reached the ball now just short of the rope, and that is 3 more runs. It's obviously past the record, but which Hobbs and Rhodes achieved for the first wicket, so it's 326 for no wicket.
Cook, left arm round the wicket, gives it air, and he's going to be caught a slip. He's out. He went to heave it against the spin over in the mid-wicket, mid-arm region, and the ball just lobbed up. Both of them merely had to back heel a couple of yards and took the easiest of catches. And Jeff Marsh's long, triumphant innings is out. Caught both of them, Bo Cook, 138, and the monumental record opening stand in England-Australia test matches between Jeff Marsh and Mark Taylor has ended at 3:29, and let's just listen to the standing ovation for Jeff Marsh, the Australian vice-captain. Up comes Botham and bows a slow ball and almost has him caught, but he doesn't, and he goes for another 4. Taylor has now reached 197 as he sliced that drive to the left of Moxon and down to the third-man boundary.
He is the second highest scorer in any series against England for Australia, Bradman having exceeded his total 3 times.
In comes Hemmings, and that turns as well, but this is Mark Taylor's 200 as he leans back and hammers it past cover. One of umpteen superbly hit square cuts in this series. He lifts off his helmet, he waves his bat particularly towards the Australian balcony. David Boone shakes him warmly by the hand. Mark Taylor, almost an unknown cricketer outside the Sheffield Shield, a bare 6 months ago, has scored 202 not out. Goes again, and that swung too, and it was nudged down by Boone past the gully. Smith down to Malcolm, who stops it, and the 400 up. And milestones dropping like acorns off the oak trees in autumn now.
Here is Cook again. He's in. He bows to Boone. Boone's forward, running that fine backward point. It's a chase there for Moxon. They go for 1. They come back for 2. And the throw comes in. They get 2. Boone goes to 31. It's 429 for 1. And that is the 100 partnership. Cook bows. He's down the weed. He's stumped, and he's out-stumped. So, after he scored 219, I last managed to put the mockers on Taylor by suggesting he might get 300. He came down the wicket to drive Cook, was beaten in the air, and missed the ball, and Russell had the bails off in a flash. He made, no stumping is that easy, but Russell had, as they go, it was straightforward. He took it splendidly. 430 for 2. Taylor stumped Russell, bowled Cook for 219, and just listen to the applause as the whole ground, to a man, stand to greet him back into the pavilion. Taylor waves his bat, smiles in the direction of his wife, and even Bill Findle is moved to clap, and absolutely right. It was an inspiring performance, and he allows himself a slight smile. He disappears up the steps into the pavilion.
Licks his fingers and then goes in and bows the googly, I think, which was pulled away down to square leg by Boone, who reaches 50, the third man in the innings to do so in this monumental 458 for 2.
And this one, at a time, Boone sweeps at Hemmings. The ball is coming down towards us. I think he was probably leg buys. It won't get away for 4. Greg Thomas from deep backward square gets there, throws back in. A very wayward throw. It's leg buys signalled by umpire Plews. And that is the 500 up. 502 for 2.
Away goes Cook, tosses it up outside the somebody. He's slumped! He changed his mind. He was going to drive it. Changed his mind. Didn't get back. And another very good stumping there by Russell outside the off stump. And Cook has got his 3rd wicket, the only 3 wickets that England got. So congratulations to him, congratulations to Russell on a quick bit of stumping, and also congratulations to Boone on a very good innings of 73 with some delightful on drives between wide, mid, on and mid wicket. I enjoyed those most from him, plus those slashes square on the offside.
Fraser bowls to him, and it balloons off pad out to Gower, who takes a splendid catch, and he fired him. Dean Jones is out. I can assure you that he doesn't look all that happy, maybe because he's out for 22. Caught Gower, bowled Fraser. Australia 543 for 4. Jones departs, and as he walks down the wicket, it looked all too nonchalant to me. I mean, Gower almost took a superb soccer-type catch to grab the ball, turned to the umpire, said, "What did you think of that?" And the umpire said, "Yes, that's good enough for me." Jones out for 22.
Malcolm is on his way in. He's there now. He bows. The wall plays that way in the end. He's caught there by David Gower at mid-wicket, and Stephen Waugh's fantastic record comes to an end. He's out for a duck. Caught Gower, bowled Malcolm. It's Malcolm's first test wicket, and all the England side gather round to congratulate him. And Malcolm, I think, was just beginning to rue his luck and to feel that this test cricket is not perhaps quite all I've heard it to be. He's got his wicket, a very much valued wicket. Fraser gives him a tap on the back too, and Fraser, the only other man, one of the only other men to have dismissed Waugh this season in a test match.
Fraser comes up now, bowls to Healy, and that's outside the old stump, and he's played on. He chopped it on, and he's out, going for, I suppose, a cut. I don't know what it was, but he's tucked his bat under his arm, not looking pleased himself. And I'm glad that that gives Fraser another wicket, because I think he well deserves that in his analysis. So it is 560 for 6 now. Fraser runs up again, bowls this one, and that's outside the stump. That square cut, quite a good stroke that. I don't think it'll go to the boundary, because Malcolm's just going to cut it off now. He runs round. And that is 2 more, and Border has got his 50.
As Holmes cuts between the 2 slip fieldsmen, there's a first and a fourth in, and that went at catchable height between both of them, and down to the boundary for 4, and that is the 600 up for Australia. The Australians declare at 602 for 6, and just as I suggested a while ago, that's the figure that they got at Leeds. They had 601 at Leeds, 602 here at Trent Bridge, and Alan Border setting England this very tough task of scoring in excess of 400 runs to avoid the follow-on.
Alderman comes in now, past umpire Blues. He bowls to Mox. Moxon's forward hit on the bat. He's caught. At second slip, that was off the edge, and it was War there who swooped to his left. Was it War, was it Border? And I can't see, they've submerged very quickly, and Moxon is out. He came forward, it was bat. I thought for a moment he got his pad in the way. He had his back to us, so one couldn't be certain. It was bat, and it was caught there at second slip, a low catch swooping to the left, and England are 1 for 1. Here's Alderman again into Atherton. He's there, he bowled. Atherton comes with it on the battlefield for LBW. He's out, LBW for naught. And Atherton has lasted 2 balls. Alderman, that seemed to be a fairly straight one. He played a little bit outside it, and Atherton's first test innings has come to an end, and England are 1 run for 2 wickets. 2 wickets in the first over, and really this is disaster piled on disaster.
This one now is... Oh, it's a good one. He must be out. He is. Came back at him. Curtis is LBW. A beautiful ball there from Alderman. My goodness, he's a marvellous bowler. He really is.
Lawson bowls to Gower, and Gower takes a wild swish outside the off stump. And is he out? He is. Caught behind by Healy. I was just waiting to make sure that Healy had taken the catch. I wasn't awfully sure that there was an edge on it. And then you had to make the judgment that there was so much animation in the Australian slips field that there was just the faintest of edge. The wicket-keeper fell awkwardly with the ball. As soon as he stood up, and umpire Shepherd looked at umpire Plews, made sure that it had carried, and David Gower, the English skipper, is out. Caught Healy, bowled Lawson 11, England 37 for 4.
In comes Hughes and bowls to Smith, who laces into a square drive to get his 50. This is superb batting by Robin Smith. It is calculated counter-attack. And playing every ball on its merit, but when he gets a bad one, he doesn't just bruise it, he murders it. Hughes bowls to him again. This time Smith cuts a bad ball for 4. And the crowd over the advertising hoarding there on the Fox Road boundary must have been a bit worried as that ball fairly whistled towards them, and such was the pace of it that it looked like climbing the advertising hoarding and giving somebody a very nasty bruise. 100 up.
Lawson to Russell again. He plays and misses, or does he? He's out caught. The breakthrough comes for Lawson. The catch is taken by Healy. He's just feathered that through. There was one, I think, about 2 overs ago from Lawson where he played and missed, and the slips threw their hands up, this time with better reason, and Russell is out. Caught Healy. Bowled Lawson 20. England 119 for 5.
Holmes bowls to Smith, who pulls through mid-wicket for 4 runs to bring up a magnificent 100. And many of the crowd, almost all the crowd, are rising to salute a marvellous piece of counter-attacking cricket by Robin Smith of Hampshire and England.
Alderman comes in now and bowls to Smith. And Smith is caught behind, going for a cut, caught behind off the top edge. He's caught Healy, bowled Alderman to give Alderman 31 in the series. Smith is out for 101, caught there by Healy of Alderman. You can see it all the way, going for the cut, and he's cursing himself. But what a splendid innings, and let the crowd tell you how much they've appreciated his cricket.
And here's War in, bowls there to Fraser, who goes back into his stumps, plays this away square on the egg side. It's 4 runs. And that is his highest test score, but what a good stroke. It was on a little bit short, it was on his pads, he went back and played it away into the gap with splendid timing. And good run, well, very appropriate, he should get a good round of applause too. 203 for 6.
Oh, a slog by Hemmings, and he plays on. That was not a good shot, I'm afraid. And Hemmings is out, bowled Alderman for 38, and England have lost their 7th wicket at 214, and when he gets back, he will be very disappointed that he played that shot. He was heading towards mid-on, a ball probably just outside his off-stump. And a sad end to a spirited innings by Eddie Hemmings. and bowls to him, and Botham goes resolutely forward and he's off the mark with 4 through the slips. It hurt him. He's taken his right hand off the handle of the bat as he ran up there, but it was all on the ground and a good resolute stroke. So it would be marvellous if the Botham legend were to continue with a great innings here.
Now, Angus Fraser to take strike, and it's Trevor Holmes, the leg spinner from the pavilion end, goes in and bowls to him. He flights as he's bowled him. He's bowled him. Fraser played 40, looked to be trying to drive the ball. It's turned straight into the wickets, and the bails fly and make a mess. The Australian fieldsmen gather as Angus Fraser leaves the field. Bowled by Holmes for 29, England 243 for 8. Holmes takes Botham on the pad. No, he didn't. There was an edge in that. And Holmes has had Botham caught at silly point. So Botham is out for 12. England 244 for 9. And Australia must now be rated an excellent possibility of cleaning up this England innings on this third evening. Botham out for 12, England 244 for 9.
Holmes again, in bowls to Malcolm. Malcolm swings it away. That was up the high, wide and handsome. It's 6 runs. Over the head of Jones there at long on, into the front of the ladies' stand for 6.
That was the first 6 of this test match. When you consider the Australians scored 602, that's quite a surprising statistic.
Here's Hughes again. Let's see what he's going to offer him. He's up to the wicket now. He bows, and as Malcolm goes back, he's caught behind. He waved his bat at that, and the ball deflected. I think he's quite grateful that that's over. He was on his way to the square leg umpire on that occasion too. England all out for 255.
In goes Lawson, bowls to Gower again, and that's bowled him! I was just about to say it pitched outside the line of the off stump, and indeed, if it did, it snipped back. But that's knocked the off stump back, and Gower is out, bowled by Lawson for 5. England 5 for 1. Alderman to Curtis, and that strikes him on the pad. That's close. That's out. And that's almost exactly the same as the way he was dismissed in the first innings. He was really falling across the line. It struck him on the pad. I thought for a split second that it may have adjudged to been missing the leg stump, but it took him on the pad. And again, we see the demise of an England batsman. LBW to Alderman. It's Curtis this time. LBW Alderman for 6. England 13 for 2.
And Hughes is in, bowls to Smith. And to bowl him, he's yorked him, his leg stump's out of the ground. Smith has gone, bowled by Hughes for 26, and England now 67 for 3. It was a leg stump yorker. He played over the top of it. The leg stump is there about 2 yards back towards the wicketkeeper. Hughes is submerged. I don't think anyone actually kissed him.
Here is Atherton waiting as Hughes comes up, bowls this one outside the off stump, and he gets right across that one, steers it square on the offside, and it's Marsh running up to deep point, and they're coming back for a second, and applause for the 100. $100 for 3. Atherton is now 36. Motson, the other bats of 15.
Alderman in, bowls there now. Oh, and he's bowled Moxon. He came far forward. He kept pretty low, that one. And the bails went up like a lot of fireworks. And the Australians gather round Alderman. He's taken his second wicket of the innings. He's 34th of the series. England are 106 for 4. Moxon bowled Alderman 18.
Lawson bowls to him again, and he's bowled him! Knocked his off stump back. And Russell, we were just saying it was improbable that he could defend and defend and defend right through this afternoon, particularly on a wicket that is starting to play a few tricks. Holmes bowls to Atherton, and Atherton on the drive, and then he's set that straight back to the bowler, and he's out caught. Holmes, a very good catch indeed. In fact, I just paused for a split second to ensure that he hadn't let it hit that into the wicket. But let's pay tribute to Holmes. That was a brilliant catch. He drove that hard in the air, and Holmes on the follow-through had to dive away to his left to take what was a splendid catch and pick up a critical wicket for the Australians. Atherton caught and bowled Holmes 47, England 120 for 6.
It was a splendid catch and a good innings by Atherton. Hasn't played all that amount of leg break bowling, even though he's a leg break bowler himself, and the applause well deserved.
Oh, fine delivery, the top spinner, I think, and gets through Fraser's defences. Somebody said something to Fraser, who looked back at the fielder in question,
I would say that was probably the top spinner rather than Googly. It came on very, very quickly, kept very low.
Good bit of bowling by Trevor Holmes, who's playing his full part and has done in this series. He's picked up a lot of useful wickets, and it's lovely to see a leg spinner really proving useful in Test cricket. 134 for 7. Holmes has bowled Fraser for 1.
Here comes Hughes. He's in now. He bowls to Hemmings. Hemmings in front. He's LBW. He went back, and Hemmings, in fact, was walking. That one cut back into him, and he was absolutely plumb. And they gather round Hughes to congratulate him, and Lawson comes running in from fine leg. Lawson, who's had a word or two with Hemmings, to offer his congratulations. In fact, he almost makes a bow of obeisance to the moustache fast bowler. Everyone's pleased. Hemmings knew he was out. He kept a bit low. He was on the back foot. He was nowhere. 160 for 8. Hemmings, LBW bowled Hughes for 35. Here comes Hughes again. In bowls. He's bowled him. He's bowled him, and it's all over. Australia have won this Test match by an innings and 180 runs. They're coming off. William, you really, honestly, you were trying...
The players' umpires were looking at the bowfield. They weren't sure whether both was coming off or not.
Okay, I think I'll forgive you. 167 for 9, England all out. They lost by an innings and 180 runs. They are now 4-0 down in the series. The Australians seize the stumps. I'm very glad to see that Stumper Taylor has got one with that innings of 299, and all the Australians are shaking the umpires by the hand.
Well, it's an absolute... It's another massacre, really.
Conversations.
As a journalist in China, were you under surveillance by the state?
Spend an hour in the life of someone else.
We always worked on the assumption that the ABC Bureau office would be bugged.
Someone who has seen and done remarkable things.
So I didn't want to leave at all. I felt safe. And at midnight, knock on the door, 7 state security police.
Hear the latest conversations. Weekday mornings from 11 on ABC Radio. And follow on the ABC Listen app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, I'm Ned Hall. Coming up now, highlights of the 6th Ashes Test of the 1989 series. It was played at the Oval, with England battling to try and salvage some pride from an extremely disappointing series. They'd used a whole army of different players, rotating different players in and out throughout the course of the series, whereas Australia fairly consistent throughout. They won the toss and chose to bat in this match on what was a good batting deck in South London. 2 more debutants for England in this Test match, Alan Eggleston and John Stevenson, both on debut for England. So highlights of the 6th Test of the series in 1989.
Here's Small bowling this one short, and he's hooked up and it's going up in the air. It's going to be caught. It's caught by Stevenson, outward arm, and Marshall out. Caught Stevenson. Caught Eggleston, sorry. Caught Eggleston. Bowled there by Small, and the score is 48 for 1.
Pringle bowls, and it turned just square on the onside, past Cook's left-handed forward short leg, and they get 2 runs for it. Fielded eventually by Small, who can do no wrong at the moment in the eyes of the crowd. After all, he has taken a wicket, and not many bowlers have done that for England, certainly with any consistency in this series so far. The 50 up too, that was part of the reason for the louder applause there.
Here comes Eggleston now in to Taylor. Taylor goes back, forces that square on the offside for 4 runs. It was short, it was outside the off stump. He flashes, played it beautifully away, and waves his bat to the pavilion and gets not much more than desultory applause. He reaches 50 for the 6th time, I dare say, in this series. Cook again, left arm over, bowls. Taylor takes a step and gets an edge, bat, pad, it runs away toward third man. It's a chase for Small from backward point, and they're going to get 2 runs. They do, if 100 is up, 101 for 1. Again.
Here comes Eggleston, and that's where he's caught behind. Eggleston's first wicket in Test cricket. Taylor, for once, didn't choose the right ball to hit, or at least it bounced more than he expected. He was looking to hit it into the cover region off the back foot. He got a top outside edge, and Alan Eggleston has got a most worthy scalp.
Small bows, and that's driven there, and he's out. He's caught at third slip by Atherton. Boone drove outside the off stump, and it went straight very fast to Atherton, who held a good catch. He could easily have dropped that. It was going like a rocket. He hung on extremely well, and Boone is out. Caught Atherton there, bowled by Small for 46. And Australia, who are not prospering as they will have hoped on this pitch, are 1:49.43. It's going to be Gladstone Small again. He waits, he sees that Jones is ready, and here he comes. He's to the wicket now, he bowls, Jones drives down the ground. That's going to be very well before runs. It's a chase for Eggleston. I don't think he's going to get it. He isn't. And one of the blue-shirted, white-trousered ball boys comes out and picks up. And so Jones, he didn't actually time that at his best to perfection. He hit it into the ground, but it went into the gap between mid-off and the bowler for 4 runs. A very quick outfield. 153 for 3.
Pringle, long strides, goes in and bowls to Border, who cleverly plays this down along the ground, through between gully and second slip. It's a long chase back there, and just pulled up inside the line. Good bit of running by Graham Gooch, who hasn't had much to do. His throw is appalling. And Mrs. Russell, who was sprinting towards square leg by some distance, but happily for him and for Gooch, Atherton was in the path of it at mid-wicket. But 3 runs, and that brings up the 202 for 3.
He's at the wicket again, and he bowls to Dean Jones, and Jones drives. Oh, and it's a very well-placed shot too. That's coming down towards the boundary in front of the pavilion, and it's 4 runs. He more or less squeezed that away. I thought when the ball was struck that it wouldn't go for 4, but it was just wide of Cook, and that brings up his 50. Dean Jones is 51, and Australia 3 for 229. A beautifully placed shot by Dean Jones.
Here is Cook in, bowls to Border, who's down the wicket, working this one away through rather square mid-wicket. It's going to be 4 runs. Small, I don't think will get that one. No, he won't. He bubbles over the rope. Down there in front of the Harleford Road scoreboard. And that was Border going, a lovely shot there. He goes along to 45. The 250 is up. 250 for 3.
Now, over the wicket, Cook to the left-handed Border, still wants this one, and he's got it. 4 runs, on drive, over the rope now, below us here, an over-bit ball. He uses his feet nicely to it. He acknowledges the chairs. He goes to 53, 272 for 3.
Eggleston runs to the wicket again and bowls to Dean Jones, and Jones cuts. That's a lovely-looking shot down towards Capel at third man, and that's the 300 on the board now for Australia. As Jones goes to 92, the score goes to 3 for 300. Eggleston bowls to Dean Jones, and Jones drives straight back up the ground. That's it. He crunches the air, actually, as he takes the first run. This should go for 4, I think. He's got the second. He's going back for the third, so he's got his century. Gladstone Small has stopped the ball inside the rope, and the call is, come on, we'll run 4, and that they do. And I suppose that caps off one of Dean Jones's best test centuries. He's ripped his helmet off. He's now signalling to the crowd and thanking them for their applause, and that's so well deserved. Dean Jones is 103, and Australia are 3 for 311. A marvellous knock. Beautiful innings. And the day's play has finished very much in Australia's camp. They won the toss, they batted, and it stumps 3 for 325.
Is Capel coming up now to bowl to the left-handed Border. And Border goes to hit this one, and he's skied it, and he's caught behind. He skied that one, trying to hook it down. A very nice, lolloping, easy wicketkeeper's catch. I think I might have caught it myself. Caught Russell there. Bowled Capel. The Border is out for 76 trombone time, and Australia are 345 for 4. Bit of a bonus there. Well done, Capel, though. Glad he got a wicket. Here is Small coming up now. Bowls to Jones, and Jones. Oh, he's caught brilliantly left-handed by Gar. That was a marvellous catch. I think it's probably the first time Gar's stopped the ball and slipped the whole match very nearly. What a marvellous left-handed catch. You won't see a better one than that. That's a Phil Sharp catch. It was a brilliant one. So, Jones is out, and another wicket for Small. Well bowled him, very well caught Gar, and Jones is out for 122. Caught Gar, bowled Small, and Australia are 347 for 5.
Eggleston bowls to War again, and War cramped up. No, he's bowled him! He backed onto his stumps, and I'm just wondering whether he's actually made contact with the body and the stumps, or inside edge onto the stumps. War is out, bowled by Eggleston for 14. Australia 6 for 386. Eggleston bowls to Healy, and Healy pulls this behind square leg. That's the 400 up for Australia. They've taken 1. They'll come back for the second now. And will they think about the third? No. Well, they did momentarily, but that's 401 on the board, and there is a slice of cricket history. The first team ever in 8 consecutive first innings to score in excess of 400 runs, and the Australians break yet another record.
And here is Pringle. He's in again, bowls to... Oh, he's out! He's out, he fed forward, got a thickish nick, and Russell dived across, fell across to his right, and took the catch. And Australia now 409 for 7. The scoreboard have even got it up already. And he's out for 44. And it was a very good innings, just the sort of thing Australia wanted. They lost those 2 wickets. He came in and played some very good, enterprising strokes. 44 in 44 balls, 409 for 7. Pringle has taken his 87th wicket of the summer, and he's very well deserved it. He bowled very well in this short spell.
Yeah. Pringle to Hughes. Hughes taken on the pad. There's an appeal for LBW, and he's out. There's an LBW appeal that was successful. Hughes, LBW, Pringle, 21. Australia, 8 for 447.
This one now from Pringle. Oh, clean bowl! One of the worst strokes I've seen. He stepped back, gave all his 3 stumps for Pringle to aim at, trying to, I suppose, play it off the back foot through the covers. It was a straight ball, and lost. It's bowled by Pringle. He is out for 2, and Australia 453 for 9. Already England's luck has turned.
Here it comes, Pringle again. Holmes has caught behind, he nibbled at that, and he's out. He played a firm-footed sort of cut at that, and it was no sort of shot at all. He got the nick, and Jack Russell there threw the ball aloft. Australia are all out for 468. Pringle, who's congratulated once by Gower, by Robin Smith, has taken 4 wickets, his best haul in a test innings for some while. And the Australians all out for 468. And here is Alderman again into Gooch. He's up to the wicket now. He bowls. And Gooch in the bat. He's out LBW. He's out LBW. Gooch can hardly believe it. He was playing at that from the crease. It went straight on. He bowled him 2 that went away. That one went straight on. It may even have come a fraction back into him. Hit him, I should think, halfway up the pad. And it did look very, very plumb. Gooch could hardly believe it. It was, and so England are 1 for 1. Gooch out, 3rd ball. LBW to Alderman for naught. And Trevor, I've somehow got the feeling I've seen all this somewhere before.
No views from the pavilion end. All bowls and beats, and he's caught behind. Atherton went for a big wind outside the off stump, has been caught by the keeper. And just as I sit in the chair, the critical breakthrough comes for the Australians. 2 for 28 now. The English side, Atherton really had played so responsibly that suddenly has the head up driving, and that ball just leaving him a little. He managed to nick it through to the keeper. So Atherton is out, and England lose their 2nd wicket with 28 on the board.
And then throws it back to Lawson, who's coming in now at a wide angle from the Vauxhall end. The hospitality suites behind him, all full to the brim. Lawson is there now. He bowls. Smith, bowled him. He's knocked the middle stump and the leg stump almost out. That one, I think, came between bat and pad. Smith was half forward, and a pretty good one. But I wonder, it just seemed that there was a bit of a gap there. It came between bat and pad, cut back into him perhaps a fraction, and he's very, very bold. England 47 for 3. Smith bowled by Lawson for 11.
As Alderman comes in and bowls. Stevenson is out. Caught at 2nd slip by Waugh. It bounced a bit more. And Stevenson, who just had the treatment to his wrist, one will never know whether that affected him mentally there, but it was a very good delivery. It bounced a bit more from just outside the off stump. He didn't really have to play at it, but he did, and it took the shoulder of the bat almost and carried to 2nd slip, and a fairly comfortable catch, well taken by Waugh. Stevenson's good innings ends at 25, and England have lost their 4th wicket for 80. Alderman, with his rather creeping stride, comes in. The arm comes free, and he bowls to the right-handed Cable. Appeals for LBW. He's out. 2 wickets in 4 balls for Terry Alderman, and England are 84 for 5, and Cable departs. 3rd ball, LBW Alderman 4.
In comes Alderman again. He bowls to Jack Russell, and Russell beaten by that. There's an appeal for caught behind. He's out. Caught by the keeper. Russell caught Healy, bowled Alderman. 12, England 98 for 6.
Alderman coming in now to build a Gar. And he goes to turn it on the leg side, and he's caught down the leg side, trying to glide it down there, and Gar is caught. Well, we can't blame him. He's connected with all the ones he tried to today. This one, he just got a bare touch. And Alderman now has 5 wickets, 39 in the series, and Gar out for a very, very fine 79. So he didn't get his double 100, but listen to the applause of the crowd. He's taken his helmet off.
And here comes Lawson again. Bustling up to the wicket. Quite a long striding run. He bowls now, and that's played away by Gladstone Small in the air, past Boone over his left-right shoulder. Another chase for Border. They go for 2. Border's cap flies off. He picks up, returns, and that is the 200. 201 for 7. Gladstone Small goes on to 16. And the crowd is giving the 200 a very good hand. And a couple of pigeons flutter away, frightened maybe by the burst of applause.
And then he goes and bowls to Pringle, and Pringle beaten by that. He's out! Just off the outside edge to slip, taken by Mark Taylor. Holmes has picked up a wicket. And I sit down, and just as I think the posterior hit the seat for the second time in the match, a wicket has fallen. 8 for 201. Pringle out, caught by Taylor off the bowling of Holmes for 27. 8 for 201.
Well, this would be the first 50. Fifth. In comes, and there it is. Played away by Small through mid-wicket for 2 runs, probably 3. Border gets to the ball now as he scatters the pigeons. They think about a third, decide against it. And tremendous ovation. Indeed, in some cases, a standing ovation for Gladstone Small. Always fun when a tail-ender gets runs unexpectedly, and they're badly needed in these circumstances. And Small really started to say he wasn't going to hang on for long. He played a miss several times at Alderman in particular, but this has been a courageous effort, and one which has gained in confidence, and with power to add. 51, his 5th first-class 50, his first in Test cricket. 259 for 8, and England now need 10 runs to avoid a follow-on.
8 for 267 is the score. 269, England need to avoid the follow-on. Will this be the delivery that brings the runs as it's turned behind square? Off they go for the first. They should get them here. Back to the second, yes. Gladstone Small, oh, it's close to a run out. Now he's home. Well, he was very late going for the second. I think there was that little bit of misunderstanding there, but the follow-on has been avoided. Small made his ground by about half a yard. And England 8 for 269, and they thoroughly deserve the applause that they're getting from the crowd. A marvellous rearguard action, particularly by Gladstone Small, who's made 57. And Cook, very good support, 22. England 8 for 269. The follow-on has been avoided, and I suppose that consigns this test match towards the draw department.
Here's Lawson. Up to the wicket, a great leap now. He bowls Small. It's half volley. He's driven. He's out. He's caught at cover. He's driven a wideish half volley straight into the pit of Jones's stomach there at cover. It's the first time Small really has taken any sort of a risk, and he's paid the penalty. So 274 for 9. Gladstone Small caught Jones, bowled Lawson for 59, and the ground, all round the ground, people rising to him. It was a marvellous, wholehearted innings, tremendously defiant. It also shows how really bankrupt of objects to applause through this long, hot summer English crowds have been. Small walking briskly off, acknowledges the applause with his bat, a little bit irritated, I think, at having got himself out in that way.
Yes, well, on the other hand,
comes Lawson and bowls to Cook, who caught at backward point by Dean Jones, who's therefore taken the last 2 wickets with catches, one of them at cover and that one at backward point, as it was chased again by Cook, rather as he had in the last over. A wide half volley, and he just steered it really. Slightly disappointing end to a very good innings indeed by Nick Cook, his highest test score of 31. He takes off his helmet, puts his bat under his arm, peels off his gloves, including, incidentally, a pair of inner gloves as well as the outer batting gloves, and walks off, dark-haired and red-faced, to generous applause from the crowd, and indeed from the Australian fields. Eggleston follows him in. Perhaps not too sorry that his unequal struggle against the new ball has ended. And also he'll be nice and fresh to take the new ball for England. Well, a waste of a new ball that. I wonder where it will now go, what match it will be used in next. But it was only used for 2 overs and 1 ball. 285 all out, England in their first innings. So Australia have a first innings lead of 183.
Eggleston bowls to Marsh, and Marsh taken on the pad. There's the field for LBW, and he's out. Marsh, LBW, Eggleston for 4. England, the Australians, lose their first wicket with 7 runs on the board. So Jeff Marsh's test summer is over in terms of batting, and he looks very disappointed with himself as he comes off. He's found runs on this tour very hard to amass, and he's out now. LBW, Eggleston 4. Australia lose their first wicket with 7 runs on the board.
Small comes in from the far end past umpire Bird. Bowls a wide. How far is he caught? Yes, he's caught by Jack Russell. A brilliant diving catch in front of first slip. It took him almost to second slip. It was a very, very wide ball indeed. A slightly fortunate dismissal. And Mark Taylor's prolific test series is over at last. Caught, Russell, bowled small, 48. And it's just a pity that there isn't a packed house and a sunny morning for the final stride to the pavilion. Cap off, or helmet off in this case, lifting his bat, a modest young man who's had an absolutely wonderful summer, which he will never forget. Eggleston from the pavilion end runs in over the wicket and bowls to the right-handed Boone, who goes forward, pushes it out short on the offside. There's going to be a run out here. Atherton the fielder, and Boone is run out 2 balls after being given not out for a possible, for an appeal anyway, for a catch down the leg side. Boone pushed it into the offside, called for the run. Border simply refused it, and that was that. Rather a sad little dismissal, really, for David Boone, who was looking for runs, but on the other hand, Alan Border's in charge, and you don't argue with the skipper. Cable, fair-haired and wiry of build, moves in, runs in about 15 yards, gradually accelerating, and bowls to the right-handed Jones. Bowls him! Middle back. Well, that's a feather in David Cable's cap. Well bowled. He does pitch the ball up. He gives it a chance to swing, and I think he's been a little unlucky, perhaps, on this excellent pitch, in that every time he's fractionally overpitched, he's been hit for 4 in this match so far. But there is his second wicket, his first of this innings. He peels on his sleeveless sweater to keep warm, and Jones departs after a very good innings, and I wonder if Alan Border is thinking, dash it, I wish I had decided to declare. 189 for 4. Jones walks out to a well-deserved reception, and what a wonderful series he's had too for Australia.
It's Alderman now from the far end, up to the wicket, bowls to Stephen. Oh, and he pads up, he's out, he must be LBW, he was. He played no stroke at all to one which came back, seemed to come back a fraction. I think he would have hit the off stump, he looked very plumb from here. And Dickie Bird had his finger up in a flash, and Stevenson is out in the time-honoured way, the 19th victim of this English batsman this series to be LBW bowled Alderman. He's LBW for 11. It is 20 for 1. Alderman has now taken 40 wickets in the series and needs 3 more to beat his record 42 haul in 1981.
Comes Alderman and bowls, driven back, caught and bowled. Alderman's got his second wicket. That takes him level with his 41, I think, in 1981. 27 for 2, England. 1 behind his 42 in 1981, correction. But his second wicket, and England still in trouble. They have had only 10.5 of the overs they have to face to save this match. 67 was the minimum, and already they've lost their 2 opening batsmen. And Gooch, who has been, I very much regret to say, a failure and a great disappointment in this series, is caught and bowled Alderman 10, well bowled Terry Alderman yet again.
And Lawson runs in now to bowl to Aston. Oh, he bowled him. He's very late on that, and he's clean bowled. Lawson gets his wicket. Aston bowled Lawson for 14, and England now 51 for 3.
Here is Lawson now at this very attacking field. 8 men round the bat, including the wicketkeeper, coming in to bowl to David Gower. He bowls, Gower goes back, he's out, he's caught in the gully by Steve Waugh. He went back to force that away, and Waugh dived to his left, took a splendid catch, and England now are going into tea at 67 for 4. David Gower is out, caught Waugh, bowled Lawson for 7, and that really does throw the game into the melting pot for England. Australia have 6 more wickets to take, and who is to say that they won't take them? That was not a good stroke by David Gower. It was a silly shot. There was no need to play it. He was on the point of tea. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Holmes bowls again. Round the wicket this time to Capel. It goes in the air and he caught there. Yes, he's out. He caught in the gully. Taylor running round from slip. He propped half forward, not fully forward. It bat, then pad, and Taylor took the catch, and umpire Palmer stuck his finger up. It's going to be Lawson. The light really... and Dickie Bird has just come across now to confer with umpire Palmer, and I should think this will be it. The light isn't very good, and I think they were both looking at one another and waiting and daring the other to make the first move to come across. They've talked, they've offered it to the batsman, and they are coming off. And I would think probably boos, mild booing from the crowd, mild disappointment from the Australians in the slips there, but I think it's inevitable, and I think they realise that it's fairly inevitable. 143 for 5 is the score. The Australians are reluctant to leave the field. We've got Taylor, Healy, Alderman all just standing there, but the light isn't very good. And natural disappointment, I dare say. Borders having a word with the umpires. And I think it's reasonable enough in this light, don't you, Trevor?
Identification. The final cut on this tape is an interview with David Gower by BBC commentator Brian Johnston after Gower was awarded the announcer's champagne moment of the 6th cricket test, and then following that there is an interview with David Gower. The interviewer is Christopher Martin Jenkins in Dividend.
We've got a very pleasant ceremony here because we've chosen our champagne moment. And I don't know if any of you were listening, but at 11:50 exactly on Friday, Dean Jones nicked a ball from Gladstone Small, and a figure had been standing there rather casually. I remember I'd said I don't think he's touched the ball all day, and he was standing there. And this ball was very low indeed, and this figure put out a left hand and held it very low down, as if it was just about to pass him. I see Phil Sharp used to do that. So, and the ball must have been just behind his ankle. He took a marvellous catch, one of the best slip catches I've ever seen. And unanimously up here, after many consultations, we had a lot of other moments we thought of, we decided this was the moment, 11:50 on Friday. And the man who caught the catch is very kind to come up, Mr. David Gower.
Jonas, thank you very much indeed.
Did that surprise you?
It did, yes. I think... There are those connoisseurs of slip catching who say that an experienced first slip might have just sort of gracefully leant a bit to his left and held it in front of his ankle. I was just a little bit slow off the mark, but made it look a good catch.
It looked marvellous, didn't it? And because Jack Russell didn't come across and get it, so he left you left-handed.
Well, that's fine. I'm delighted that it's qualified for this award. I mean, I've been waiting desperately to come and pick up the Flora
the award, and it's very heavy, and this is a Jeroboam of a very fine mark of champagne given to you by the Savoy, and the only stipulation is I needn't give it to you. I could give it to a lot of people. You drink it and you don't squirt it. There's no danger of that.
There is no danger of a drop being wasted. Fear not.
Well, there you are. So we have great pleasure on behalf of the Savoy in presenting you with this Jeroboam, and congratulations.
Thomas, thank you very much indeed.
Well done, you. I hope it's a
I shall take it home, look after the right temperature.
Yes, it's fairly cool now. It's getting a bit cold in that. And I hope it's some compensation for what must have been a rather disappointing summer.
Yes, invitations will be coming out, gold-rimmed cards.
Yes, I hope it's some compensation for what must have been a slightly disappointing summer.
Well, there's always a blue sky summer, isn't there?
Well, there was one when you were batting in the first innings, so that was... they always call it a cameo, don't they? So you
it's a cameo if it's less than 100.
Anyhow, well done.
It's a little cameo if it's less than 50.
Or if it does less than win a match.
It's a disaster if it's less than 10, isn't it?
And whatever it brings you, we wish you a very, very happy winter, and I don't know where you'll be going, but...
Well, there are several options. No doubt plenty of people will be discussing those in earnest over the next few days.
Who's I see. Will that include a trip down the Cresta? Will you be able to slip that in between whatever you're
It's
going to do?
all a question of fitness, John, is it? So we're going to get this shoulder looked after first. Early October is my envisaged time to have a quick go with the surgeon and to get that as fit as possible.
You're not doing it until October. You're doing it in September.
There is no real spare time before then.
Well, good.
Things to be done. And then the winter season, of course, the Cresta season starts end of December, somewhere around there, middle of December. And the tour is due to go to the Caribbean sometime fairly shortly after
Does
that.
he hold up hope that if it's 100% success, you'll be able to throw?
Well, it's not quite going to turn the clock back 10 years, but it's certainly going to improve things. That's the idea. It's one or two things that I'd like to be able to do.
Develop as a bowler with a strange action.
Well, it's always going to be a strange action, good shoulder or bad shoulder. It always has been a strange action.
Yeah.
But it certainly should make things a bit easier, and also, I think, technically, bits of batting a bit easier as well.
Well, I hope so. And another thing I'd like to congratulate you on staying so cheerful when things haven't been going so well.
Well, it's the one thing that I always try and do. It's a question that even if things have been bad, and no one's going to admit they haven't, you do need to maintain sort of a bit of self-respect, a bit of sense of humour again, just to keep yourself up, to keep the chin up, to keep other people's chins up. Of course, if you're going to try and set an example to the 10 that are following you out in the field, then at least the man at the top has to be showing some sense of perspective and some keenness to be out there.
Yeah, well, you've certainly shown us a smile. Jenkins will probably want to ask you something.
Yeah, I'd just like to add my congratulations to David on winning that enormous bottle of champers, and I know you will enjoy it.
I know you're right.
And I'd just like to say that also, beaten badly this time, having won triumphantly last time, it is typical of cricket, isn't it? And in years to come, you will remember, and we will all remember the good points.
Oh, yes, I think, especially when you look back over, say, a cricket career, a period of 10 years or more, whatever it is that you managed to eke out in international cricket, there have always been ups and downs, always been troughs and hills and the rest of it. And I mean, I loved every moment of that 85 series, and will treasure that as probably as my favourite series to have played in every personal sense. I mean, that's been balanced out more than enough by current events over the last 3 or 4 months. And you have to accept both with the same sort of equanimity. And really, again, you have to say to Alan Border that he's done everything he set out to do when he arrived on these shores. He had a definite purpose in mind. He worked very hard to achieve that purpose. And it's only really recently, in the last, game or so, that he's been seen to relax slightly. Not that it's diminished the quality of Australians' cricket, but his own personal demeanour's relaxed a bit when he's safe in the knowledge that the Ashes are safely theirs.
Yes, great performance by Australia. Have you got the stomach, David, to go on? Do you think, you're going to be asked this in a moment. I mean, do you feel at this stage that you want to go on?
Well, it's one of these things. There are a lot of things that, when you're down, you start to think about other things. You start to sort of ponder alternatives. And I've been through, I think if you remember when we were in Australia in 86-7, there were times there when I hit 1 or 2 lows just as a player. And there was speculation then about what my intentions were in terms of playing Test cricket, how much longer for. People were suggesting that I'd lost the appetite and the urge to play it. And here we are 3 years later when I'm still keen to be involved. And you always realise when you have time to ponder, away from the excitement, away from the atmosphere of a game like this, that it's worth being around. It's actually something that you can't suddenly say when you're 50, but I'd like to have another go. And that when you are in your prime, 32 is hardly aged, right. But you might as well carry on and say, well, look, I've still got good cricket left in me, and make yourself want to enjoy it. And when you do that, you have a far greater chance of performing, a far greater chance of contributing. So the answer is, as far as I'm concerned now, is not to make any, shall we say, rash statements one way or another as regards my future as a captain or as a player, what have you. I've got an operation to undergo to sort out the shoulder, I hope, in a few weeks' time. I'm not anticipating any problems with that. I'd actually should be able to have that and be fit to go to the Caribbean in January. So we'll have time over the next few days to ponder. I will discuss things with Mr. Dexter, Mr. Stewart. They've got their own thinking to do. And at the moment we've agreed to meet sometime later in the week to do exactly that. And there's certainly not going to be a problem about that. We'll try and work out what's best for everyone and all concerned.
So at the moment you feel that if invited, you certainly wouldn't rely on
I'm certainly not going to go downstairs and, announce in strident tones that that's it. That's certainly not my style. We've been through a lot of, shall we say, interesting situations this summer. And I mean, there have been times when it's been obviously mooted and suggested by those that think they know in very forceful terms that would be the only option, is to give up. I'm not one that really wants to be forced into that sort of thing. I'd like to make any decisions I have rationally and in my own time.
Okay, Dave. Well, thank you very much indeed for coming up. It will get better again, I'm sure, if you carry on.
Well, that's the only way to look at it.